behalf of Mobile One, presenting sponsor here at Mosport this weekend for this fantastic American Le Mans Series race, our customers, our distributors, and of course our employees. Drivers, start your engines.
With that command, the three-race stretch run for the American Le Mans Series begins today at Mosport Park in Canada. This man, Dindo Capello, and his teammate, 2000 champion Alan McNish, are poised to win another championship with Audi. The pressure on all the teams to perform is immeasurable, and the task at hand is made all the more challenging as we're at one of the world's most daunting racetracks. Welcome to the northern shores of Lake Ontario and glorious Mosport Park for the 8th round of the American Le Mans Series Championship Chase as Mobile One presents the Mosport Grand Prix. Hi everybody, great to have you with us. I'm Greg Kramer, and as we get into these last three races and we look at our Pirelli storylines, with 3 races to go, the first and most important is points. And in the P1 category, if Capello and McNish leave here with 49 points over Butch Leitzinger and James Weaver, they will clinch it. But when you look at the other 3 of the American Le Mans Series 4 classes, in the P2 category, the battle is only 2 points apart. In GT1 12, in GT2 9, and with 69 points remaining for those other classes, it's simply wide open. Now, for more information on the LMP2 and GT1 headlines, let's get down to the grid. And the first of our pit reporters, Brian Till.
Well, Greg, it appears that the strategy Porsche has employed, splitting drivers Lucas Luhr and Sasha Maassen, is paying off. With Sasha Maassen's second win of the season at Road America last time out, he has leapt into the points lead in the Prototype 2 class over Clint Field and Liz Halliday. But the reliability of that Porsche still in question. In GT1, Ron Fellows has always been known as the master of Mosport, and this weekend he surprised a lot of people and impressed a lot of people, including his crew, with a spectacular lap in the rain. If the rain showers come back to Mosport, Ron Fellows in his Corvette could very well be the class of the GT1 field. For more on the other classes, let's check in with my partner, Andrew Marriott.
Yeah, Brian, absolutely great to be back here after a break of 25 years. Well, down here at Ferrari, they are really worried. They have no bodywork left. Yes, the car is in pole position. Yes, Stefan Ortelli has gone very quickly. Yes, he's joined together with Johnny Molam. But they've had incident after incident. And, as I said, they're really watching for Porsche. But Ferrari, well, they may just make it with a 430.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. And Calvin, we have talked, as you join me in the booth for this race, about how spectacular, how glorious this track is. Give us a tour as we take a look at our Pirelli course description.
Mosport International Raceway, 2.46 miles, one of the fastest and most demanding racetracks that we visit all year. And here is the highlight turn, turn 2. It's a real roller coaster ride, and it certainly sorts the men from the boys. With its double apex, it really takes the ultimate precision to get it right. As you head down to the bottom of the racetrack, this is Moss Corner. Turns 5A and 5B. A little bit faster through this one, then it really tightens up. The key here is to get good exit speed, good traction, and then that'll give you a good shot down the climbing Andretti straightaway. Then it's down into the S's. If you get the Andretti straightaway correct, you may make a daring move down into turn 8. Then it's 2 fun corners to finish off the lap. Mosport is definitely not the place for the faint of heart.
And we want to get you now right to our Shell starting grid. You can see the entire starting field. We'll reveal it to you on the speed strip across the top of the screen. But let's meet our class pole sitters.
Hello, my name's James Weaver, and I'm from England.
Butch Leitzinger, Reeversburg, Pennsylvania. I'm Lucas Luhr from Germany.
I'm Romain Dumas from France.
Hello, I'm Stéphane Sarrazin, I come from France. I'm Pedro Lamy from Portugal.
Hi, I'm Johnny Molam from London, England.
Hello, I'm Stefan Ortelli from Monaco.
Now, the grid was set based on practice times, and Calvin, when you take a look at the speed they showed in dry practice, what do these teams need to do to convert that into success here with our BMW keys to winning?
Well, the first, Greg, is driver confidence. This racetrack really demands commitment. With the limited dry track time we saw this weekend, a lot of the drivers had to practice in the wet conditions. And as we saw earlier, there were a lot of spins and crashes. Now, a driver's psyche can be a fragile thing, and those incidents will create doubt in their minds. That doubt can lead to mistakes, and mistakes here can hurt you. This racetrack is very fast, it's treacherous. Also add to the mix the heavy rains we've had this week. Make a mistake today and hit that wet grass, you are along for the ride. It'll not only damage the race car, but it can also hurt your championship chances.
And you just can't afford to have that sort of thing happen here. Everybody breathing a sigh of relief that it has dried out here. Hurricane Ernesto, the remnants of it, had dumped a lot of water on the track yesterday. They scrubbed qualifying, fearing that the track was a bit too wet as we ride on board with the pole sitter. Again, based on practice times, Butch Leitzinger behind the wheel. And they're bringing up lights out in the pace car, and this is going to be interesting as everybody rockets down into turn one. Wet, dry, this track is green, not a lot of time on it in the dry. It was damp in the morning warm-up as well.
It was, and the setup will be again. A lot of guys thought it was going to be wet for the start. It dried out quickly over the last hour. Changes had to be made.
Bringing him up is Leitzinger with Capello alongside, and we are green. Round 8 underway. Leitzinger leads. Capello tucks in. The Ferrari jumps in. Yeah, 3 cars right there, very close. Chris Dyson, who sat on the pole here with his first career pole last year, right there in the number 20 car, and a spin early by the 007, and that was on the pace lap.
That's unbelievable. That's Peter Cox there. He's been drafted in for this weekend, so he's made a mistake. He's got to make up to the team in a hurry.
Interestingly, in the wet sessions, he was the fastest of the Aston Martin drivers. Boy, Pirro was all over, inside, outside, looking for a way through, down into Moss. 5A, 5B are the corner numbers, but they call it Moss hairpin. And Leitzinger through, up the hill.
Well, let's take a look right behind the lead pair. You got that Porsche there, the yellow machine, third in line. We're going to see how it compares with the P1 machines. You've got Chris Dyson right behind him, and here comes Pirro. Look for a way by with that diesel power.
Oh, they very, very close, but he gets through, and you can see right there. And look at that, he's doing the double. He's trying to get underneath Floor, and he's made it. He has gone from 5th to 3rd. Pirro, a great, great run down the backstretch.
Late on the brakes there, you saw the car twitching around. The tire pressures and tire temperatures will not be up to what he's going to see during the stint. So that is very brave during this opening lap.
Calvin, you talked about in those keys to winning driver confidence. Pirro said he thought Road America 2 weeks ago was one of his greatest drives in terms of dealing with pressure. And he's got, obviously, you watch that movie just made, he is brimming with confidence.
He is, but that's really a surprise. I spoke to Brad Kettler, who runs the champion squad. He said a couple of my guys are not confident here. Pirro's had a couple of major incidents over the years in the Audi. In fact, Audi have written off 3 chassis here at Mosport. They won a good, clean race today.
Trying to exercise those demons with some good moves early, and boy, did he execute. Now, it's going to be interesting here. Number 20, Dyson going to take the run on the Porsche here. He didn't get out of Moss all that strongly that time.
He didn't. Right away car there, really got a good run. That's Lucas Luhr in the 7 machine. Sasha Marson in the 6. The 007, Peter Cox.
Yeah, and here's what happened on the end of that pace and the pace lap, Calvin. We're going to go back and take a look at that.
They come onto this front straightaway. Wow, he said on his radio he was actually pushed there. That's the number 4 car. It was right behind him. That's Olivier Beretta. Let's take a look from the onboard. 2 Astons.
Oh, there was the issue, maybe.
Right behind him. He's trying to get on the gas. He may have got a nudge there. Beretta was certainly trying to get a jump as well on the row behind them, the 2 yellow Corvettes. So Peter Cox will certainly be fuming inside his helmet right now, but there you see him getting on the back end of the GT2 field.
Well, Chris McMurray lit him up, and the Jean Richard Lola, the car snapped sideways. He checked up, and I maybe just surprised Beretta because he may not have seen that.
Kind of got the accordion effect there as you came on that front straightaway. As a short squirt to the start-finish line off the final turn, turn 10. But right now we see Dindo Capello really trying to close that gap on Butch Leitzinger.
And now let's check in on the goings-on at GT2. Mark Lieb replacing the normal co-driver in that car here, Hensler, and he is obviously his teammate for the event. Jonas van Overbeek is the points leader, but they've been sliding back in the order a little bit as Jörg Bergmeister's been launching forward, and look at the black bodywork on that red Ferrari, and yeah, they were borrowing get that car race ready here. As Andrew said, even though they've been fast, been a little sketchy at times.
Absolutely. They've been through the wars this weekend. They can't afford any further incidents in the race today. They've run out of bodywork, but a big move for the 45 machine. Didn't leave up front. They are the championship leader with Johannes van Overbeek.
Yeah, with that Ferrari, they actually have to send to Maranello to get some more bodywork parts. And, you know, they had a crash here with Moden on Tuesday and then several other incidents. So everybody in that team's a little bit twitchy. But one thing they are pleased about is their fuel consumption. I just spoke with Dave Timms, who is the team boss here, and he says they can go 1 hour, 20 minutes before this starts.
Well, that is going to be key in GT2 if you can do this on a one stop for fuel. 1 hour 20 is not going to cut it unless we see some yellow today.
On the 61, the black car, Tony Villander, one of the drivers there, who put in that amazing pole on his first ever visit to the series at Lime Rock. Up front, it is still Leitzinger leading, Capello right there, and they have opened up the margin over Pirro now at one point by about 2 seconds. Although it looks like Pirro may be trimming that back right there. He's definitely closing in on Capello.
He really is. He looks like he's the fastest man on the racetrack right now. We saw those sparks underneath the front end of the Audi. That's just the rub strips on the front end there. They're there to protect the bodywork. There we see Chris Dyson's now moved ahead of the Porsche Spider, driven by Lucas Fleur.
We're going to go back and show you how that pass happened, and of course that is a change in the overall position. They're in different classes, of course, and here's how that worked.
Coming through turn 2, that's the double apexer, and there you go, slides down the inside. Whoa, Lucas was pretty cool there, let him go. He's thinking about that P2 championship. They don't think they're a factor right now for the overall win.
So Chris Dyson now moves up into the 4th position in class and 4th overall. Leitzinger leads it, Capello, Pirro in the Audis, then Dyson, and then Lucas Luhr leading in P2. Lamy in GT1 leaving GT2. Speed's coverage of the American Le Mans Series is brought to you by Shell, made to move. By Michelin, a better way forward. And by Mazda. There's a soul of a sports car in everything we make. Butch Leitzinger continues to lead here at Mosport. There is the DHL Global Mail crew from Penske that are obviously very interested in the goings-on of their 2 cars. Currently running 5th and 6th overall, respectively, but leading in the P2 category, Lucas Luhr and Sasha Massen. And there is Pirro, who has really spooled it up. And they are coming right up through. That is the 2nd place battle now coming up in the GT2 category that they're coming up on. Leitzinger goes by the 61 Ferrari of Villander, now coming up on the 62, which has Ortelli behind the wheel, knifes through, going through turn 2. And boy, I tell you what, getting multiple lines from turn 2 is iffy, especially when you've got a much faster P1 car ripping through you and you're in the middle of an intense battle.
I know the GT2 car is just hanging on for dear life, and then we see the prototype cars just really slice the way around the outside. Shows the difference in the classes.
And we are getting word via radio that there may be a stop-and-go penalty on the number 3 Corvette for nudging the Aston Martin on that last turn of the pace lap. So a huge blow to the number 3 if indeed that happens. Yep, there it is.
It's the hometown hero, Ronnie Fellows. I thought it would be Beretta in the 4 car. It's actually the 3 car that got into him there. So this is going to hurt. They're going to have to really use some smart strategy now to try and get Ron back in the mix today.
And this is, watch how quick it happens. He's got to stop and release.
Now coming down pit lane, Greg, at 60 kilometers an hour, that's about 37 miles per hour. That costs you about 38 seconds compared with staying on the racetrack. So that's almost half a lap around here at Mosport.
Well, and you can see actually the descents have played out because he pulls out right behind that car. And so all things are fairly even at this stage. And obviously with that development, let's check in Brian Till with Doug Vian.
Doug Vian, project manager here at Corvette. Doug, pretty big blow this early in the race, but this is not what you and I spoke about just a little while ago, not the way you guys saw it.
No, clearly the officials had a little different interpretation than we did. The 07 was starting on the outside, wanted to get in behind the 09, came across on Ron and made contact with the left front, and obviously we have a slightly different perspective than the officials on this.
Well, they're saying the Aston into the Corvette, not the other way around, guys.
All right, and meanwhile, we have the number 50, Panos, is into the tire barriers. And that is, Scott Maxwell, who this is a track that he knows incredibly well, and something is...
Yeah, we saw it, mate. We saw it. Are you okay? Are you okay?
Talk about the wet grass, Greg. And we see the straight lines there.
Once you get off and you literally pick up speed on that grass, as wet as it is. That's 3, isn't it? Well, that's a high-speed area as well, so we're going to go to a full course caution early, so there's a little bit of a break for the number 3 Corvette. Let's see if we can find out exactly what happened to Scott. Go back and take a look as he's trying to get out of the car.
Wow,
the number
big
12 of
damage to the
McMurray.
12.
Yeah, left front corner is crumpled. And the 22 involved as well. Justin Marks behind the wheel.
Different classes running different speeds. We saw that through turn 2 just a couple of laps ago when Butch Leitzinger was encountering traffic, and you've got to play ball with each other, but it's very difficult when you get 2-3 abreast.
That left front corner of that car is absolutely deranged.
I'm looking for you on TV right now.
Here we go. There's McMurray diving to the inside and just got a little too close there. Turned Scotty Maxwell around. That was a pretty brave move there. I mean, Scott was already protecting the inside line. But with Maxwell, look how narrow he is to the corner, and the 12 comes right down the inside and just punts him out of the way. 12 car spins, and I would assume that Justin Marks then got involved.
Now here's another look at it. Maybe we'll see the full development here.
Scott is pretty shallow there. Tapped him once. Scott was still trying to turn in. Turns the 12 car around. Heavy side impact there with Scott Maxwell. Team asked him if he's okay. I think he is.
You know, McMurray just trying to limp this thing back to the pits, but it's going to be a long, long stop. And there's Scott. He's out. He's okay. He's walking around, gives the crowd a wave. This is his home track, but a very frustrating start for the day, and no less frustrating for Justin Marks as the right rear of that car in serious dilemma as well. So while we're under full course caution, we'll step away for a moment, come right back. On board with Butch Leitzinger, now under a full course caution here at the Grand Prix of Mosport, as is continuing to circulate for that incident involving those 3 cars. The only one still there is the number 50 of Maxwell. They have, in fact, managed to bring the number 22. He drove it back in, Justin Marks did, but right behind the wall. And there is the number 12, Jean Richard entry that McMurray is staying on board, but Calvin, a lot of damage to that left front corner.
There is. They're not going to be able to fix that here today, I don't think. I mean, they'd love to get back out there and get points, but it's not going to happen.
Brian Till?
That's the great thing about having 2 cars, 2 different pit strategies. Sasha Mawson takes his opportunity to come in, tops off with fuel. 2 different strategies for the 2 P2 Porsches. The 4 car also to pit road, so the Corvettes will split strategy as well. A lot of that comes from that early penalty being assessed against Ron Fellows.
You know what? I think Doug Feehan brought up a good point, because that car, the Aston Martin, qualified 10th, which puts him on the outside, and you're on a pace lap coming to the green. You're supposed to be side by side. If that car did, in fact, come across and try and tuck in behind, it's a tough call.
It really is. You're supposed to come through that final corner as best you can, side by side, and Cox should have been on the outside, Fellows to the inside, and he came back towards the apex, so that would have created the contact and hence the incident. Right now, Chris McMurray getting out. I suggest their day is over.
It certainly looks like you can see the frustration of the crew right there. While we have this caution, let's take a look maybe a little more in depth at certain point scenarios here. And here in the LMP1 category, you see the difference. Capella McNish have 42 points in hand over Weaver Leitzinger. And I said earlier, if they left here with 49, they would win, but you could be tied. We'll have to talk about that just a little bit, because it's an interesting scenario. In P2, you can see the difference. By splitting their drivers, Porsche now has Mawson and Luhr sort of bookending Field and Halliday.
Lucas Luhr currently leads the class, so if he is to reverse those positions, finishing 1-2 the other way around today, they would then tie again. But Masson already gone on that different strategy. I'm sure Lucas is in his car right now thinking, working out the sums, what can happen here, what does that move make for the rest of this race by the 6-car pitting.
In GT1, the Ollies, Gavin and Beretta, up by 12 over their teammates, Fellows and O'Connell, who had that early penalty here, so things jumble, and only 3 over the Aston Martin. In GT2, Van Overbeek leading Bergmeister by 9. Hensler not here, so obviously he's going to fall off the order. The battle really between those 2. It'll be interesting to see what unfolds at this stage. And meanwhile, as you see the Panos getting back on the rollback, let's check in with Andrew, who's with Chris McMurray.
Yeah, I'm with Chris, very disappointed, shaking his head there. What did you see in that incident there with the Panos?
Well, you guys can look at it on TV. It's very obvious. You know, I'm coming down at turn 3. It's prototype against the GT2. The GT2's blocking me into turn 3. He finally moves over. I make the pass. I'm in the turn, and he hits me in the left. He turns down and hits me in the left quarter panel. It's the second time this season. I love the guys at ALMS and Panos. Good people. But I don't know what's the deal with those cars. I don't know if those guys can't see it, but that's twice this year I've had the pass made, and I get hit in the back. So I'm really disappointed. We had John Graham here, and it's his first race this season, and he was going to race 5 next season. So we wanted to get him in the car, so it's disappointing. I want to say hi to Bobby and the kids. I think they're watching. And it's just too bad. It's really disappointing. We had a good car, so we would have had a good outcome.
Bad luck, Chris.
Thank you.
I think Chris is right. You do have to play ball with each other, particularly with the different classes. It seemed like Scott did want to protect that inside line against a faster race car, so I'd have to lean with Chris on that one.
Nonetheless, it obviously affected others as well, and it looks like a BMW is out of it as well. As we continue under caution, we're going to step away here, the 4 class leaders. We'll be right back.
And what we're trying to do is help kids that are career-minded, provide a little more professional environment, kind of an elite level, and help prepare them for car racing if that's what they choose to do.
One of the important things for us is that that the transition from karts to cars is as seamless as it can be. Today, the regulations that you find in karting are virtually identical, if you will, to car racing, and that provides a higher level of comfort going into car racing, and we think that's an advantage.
Pratt Miller is very supportive and provides a financial incentive. One of the more important things here is that the whole team gets involved, and the Pratt Miller Team Spirit Award is all about not just performance, but also their presentation, in the paddock area. This is the kind of thing that has raised everyone's game in the series, and the competitors as well as the track promoters, karting distributors have just embraced it, and it's so far so good.
And as you take a look at Mosport, and you can see a absolutely phenomenal go-karting facility, and this weekend the 5th round of that Sunoco Ron Fellows Karting Championship unfolding right here. Ron Fellows has become a legend in Canada, and it's not just because of his prowess on the track, which is phenomenal, but because he's a class act. And he looked at this and he really remembered his past, because he had to fight hard to come up through the ranks to get where he is, and he's looking there to help some of these kids in the future.
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, karting is certainly the purest form of racing, and it's great to see Ron getting involved in helping out some of the young Canadian drivers get a head start here, so it's great stuff.
All right, let's take a look now at our Michelin tire summary, a rundown of who's running what tires in the field. And Michelin 14 cars, Pirelli 4, Yokohama 2, Dunlop and Goodyear 1 apiece. So a good tire battle is always unfolding here in the American Le Mans Series as well. Let's get down to Andrew Marriott.
Yeah, for our Michelin tyre tip, and they take this very seriously indeed. In fact, each team has a dedicated tyre engineer. I'm in White Lightning. Here's Brian Monprode here. Brian just checking one of the tyres, the pressure tyre, which will go on later. So each of these engineers specifically has knowledge of the cars and the team they're working with, and that's very, very important indeed. Well, they might have to even recruit some more people next year, because I understand that the 3 Acura teams are all going to be running on Michelins. But here's your tip from Michelin. Have a dedicated guy.
All right, Andrew, thank you very much. And that is, I think, one of the reasons that Michelin has had the amazing success they've had. They've won overall 70 of 73 American Le Mans Series events, 184 class wins. It's amazing. Let's go back to the P1 point scenario. And we talked about if Capello and McNish leave with 49 points, they've got to clinch. But if Weaver and Leitzinger get every point they can, they could also end up tied with them. What's the tiebreaker?
Well, they get back into this. I mean, the real key here, Greg, is the fact that the Weaver-Leitzinger points total would have been so different if you look at the Lime Rock result. They finished 3rd, that they had a problem on the grid with the clutch. They had to take the car to the paint. They got the car back out late. They went on to score a great podium finish, but the rule state you've got to get 70% of the distance to score points. They got 68.6. They were a couple of laps shy of getting that, and that was a heartbreaker. That's really killed their championship chances here.
So that's the game they're playing, and that's why I think you're going to see an incredibly aggressive approach by Leitzinger and, as always, by James when he gets behind the wheel of the car here, because they really, in a sense, knowing how strong these Audis are, they need to win to keep any shot live at the Points Championship.
This is the track they can do it at. I mean, they've won 3 class victories in a row, won twice overall last year and the year before, so they love this racetrack. Butch is a little fatigued. A bunch of these drivers have done another sports car race over in Salt Lake City yesterday, so they flew on a plane along with Brian and I last night, so they got about an hour's rest, but they're ready to go. Butch Leitzinger will see that green flag drop, and he'll be ready.
Yeah, nothing like a red-eye bench seat. All right, here we go. Pace car is in, and Leitzinger immediately rolls in. The throttle powers out down the front straight. Green flag is flying. Leitzinger leads him away on the restart. The 2 Audis, and then the 007 Aston Martin, which means that these guys have already lapped as high as 10th overall, and that is the speed of Mosport.
It is. You see a vast difference in the speed here through these very challenging corners. Turn 2, that is really some awesome corner. It really takes your breath away when you look at it. When you're driving it, it is something else. You see Pirro there getting a little bit wide as they came through turn 3, but right now Dindo Capella is going to try and keep the pressure on Leitzinger, try and force a mistake whilst the tires are still cold.
It's interesting, a lot of the European drivers in this series say they love coming to Mosport as you look out the back of Leitzinger, because even in road racing crazy Europe right now, tracks like this are diminishing because they're all getting chicanes and this and that put in. Mosport is old school, baby.
They're few and far between over in Europe now. They've really cleaned things up, so to speak, made them a lot safer, but this really is a bit like Spa-Francorchamps. This is a track that everyone loves.
Check in on what's going on in GT2. Good battling, of course, in that category. Mark Lieb in the number 45 Portal player Shortell Porsche continues to lead there, which is great news for Johannes van Overbeek, who's the point leader in a very close battle. And there is the 009 Aston Martin in the class, and then look at this from all kinds of different classes mixed up. That's the beauty of American Le Mans Series action. There's the Ferrari, then one of the P2 Porsches, and then the 23 Joe car, the 31 Lightning car.
It's like Long has got around the Ferraris. There's a Porsche 1-2 right now. Ferrari's dropped back to 3rd, so the Ferraris look so strong in practice. Got the pole, of course, front row in fact. But right now, they don't seem to have the race pace. Maybe they're trying to run a little bit leaner on mixture. Andrew talked earlier on about getting an hour and 20 out of a tank full of fuel. They need a little bit more than that to try and do it on one stop. So maybe they're running a little bit lean, just trying to get to that halfway point. They don't need an extra stop today.
I think they're trying to be maybe just a little bit more cautious than they were, because they certainly have plenty off.
Yeah, they certainly have. When you run lean, it cuts power as well. It costs you power, costs you horsepower, but adds to the lap.
There's a good look at the leading car, Portal player Shortell, and the co-driver in that car, Brian, is the points leader.
Is indeed the points leader, Greg. Johannes van Overbeek, new co-driver this weekend. Wolf wasn't able to make it. Does that affect the way you guys typically set the car up, or is it pretty much the same?
We've run with Mark before, so we know what he likes, which is what I like and the rest of us like. So he's been great. Good pro.
So the seat slides back and forth, so that's not a problem. You guys like the same setup. But the slide in the points lately has to be a concern to you. A 3rd, a 4th, and a 5th over the last couple of rounds. What's it going to take to get you guys back up where you need to be? What's it going to take to get a win?
Well, obviously, we got to win as many races as we can. But the last 3 races you pointed out have been tough. But you know, all we can do is keep trying.
Keep trying, guys. They're hanging tight in the championship, looking for a win, and they want to take the trophy at the end of the year. Let's get down with Andrew.
Yeah, I'm down here with Scott Maxwell. He's not very happy at all. Chris McMurray says it was your fault.
You know, I don't know what we're supposed to disappear for this guy. I mean, he's how can the Audis and the Porsches get by clean and they're battling for the lead, and then a backmarker prototype comes up and takes out 3 GT cars? We can't disappear, so they got to find a way around. And I was taking the inside line, and I just felt a big thud from the back, and you know, I don't know what he wants me to do.
He said he wondered if you haven't got very good vision out of the car.
I mean, all race cars have restricted vision. I can see. I mean, I saw every prototype that was coming, and if you look at it, all of us got out of the way. We're in a 3-4 car train there, and the GT's having a good battle. And this guy comes out of nowhere, and what else can I tell you? It's just, I think, poor driving on his part, but obviously he has a different opinion. But
there you go. Thanks very much.
I think both drivers were just committed. Chris was committed to making the pass. I think Scott thought he wasn't going to make it there. He was going to turn into the corner, so a racing incident. They're going to have differing views even in the bar tonight.
Absolutely, and Andrew, of course, alluding to the fact that when the sight lines out of the car were, was that an issue or not? But hey, it was a racing incident, and usually in those, the 2 drivers involved have different opinions. Here are your class leaders. We'll be right back. On Speed, it's the all-new Speed Report. Go beyond the highlights and beyond the stats and get the why with the Speed Report. Tonight, 8 Eastern, 9 Pacific, only on Speed. There are our leaders, the overall battle right there, and in P1, 1, 2, 3, pretty close, covered by the top three right now, covered by 1.2 seconds. Very close racing, and they are running right into the battle now for 3rd through 6th in the GT2 category. Just coming up and going around the number 21, Yokohama Advan BMW from Prototype Technology Group. You're watching from that car. From the back, Joey Hand as he lets him slide through. Just some great battling in P1 and in the GT2 category as well. Joey currently running 6th in class at this stage. And boy, this was a team that was praying for a wet race.
They really were. They were dynamite in the wet weather conditions here, running on the Yokohama tires. They don't quite have the straightaway speed, but boy, if they turned things around, they were so competitive at Road America. Everyone thought they would be out to lunch there, but the handling and braking on this BMW is superb. Now, 3 of the GT2 cars had to start from the back of the pack. Joey's car is one of them. His co-driver, Bill Oberlin, along with Mike Rockenfeller, York Bergmeister, raced yesterday over in Utah, and they didn't practice. If you don't practice, you get an official qualifying time in. That means you're going to start in the back of the pack. But there you see the difference in speed. The P2 Spider just blasting by that GT2 car, going up the Andretti straightaway.
And that turn 8 that they're just exiting right now is another of the great corners. So fast on entry, and as you said, if you're brave, you can hang one out on the outside. But boy, you got to be willing to do it. This is the 23 car that is currently sitting 4th in class. One of those cars that started way back, obviously, Marcel Tiemann behind the wheel, teaming with Mike Rockenfeller this weekend. And, you know, they weren't at Le Mans, but they still wanted to race together.
They did. They wanted the ring, so certainly driven together a lot. Marcel Tiemann's been drafted in here a couple of races ago. They've been through a few drivers here this year, but they say that Marcel is going to be in throughout the rest of the season. He really wasn't quite up to speed at Road America, but they did a couple of days testing earlier in the week, certainly gave him some track time, getting more familiar with this race car and the team and the way that it operates. And it's really just a chemistry thing. It's not just driving the Porsche. You need to be able to relate the information, make the right setup changes, have the engineer understanding what the driver feedback is.
But he also did a fair time in the KTM switch, which is about as drastically different type of car as possible. And it does take a little bit of time to make the switch mentally.
It really does. I mean, drastically different race cars, different format. This is an endurance event. Those DTM races are really just wide open sprints. And right now you see the Ferrari behind him. That is Tony Vilander, who had a great qualifying run at Lime Rock Park earlier this season, putting the car on the pole and then had a big crash. So he's going to want to redeem himself to the team and have a good result here today.
Alex Jones had a pretty good resume here at Mosport. They won in 99, 2000, 03, 04. They know how to get a car around the track here. And there is Vilander again in that black Ferrari. And he appeared out of nowhere, really, in terms of the American Mile Series at Lime Rock. Probably a great run the pole. Got caught out in an accident that was really none of his doing. And some serious damage, and then he's had some conflict. But when he's here, he's impressive.
He is a very fast young driver and comes from Finland. And has won a bunch of races over in 3000 in Europe. And I just think he's a man on the move. He came over and he immediately made an impression on us, Greg, and I think he's going to do great things in the future.
Yeah, and that Italian Formula 3000 championship, he actually most recently had more wins than any other team, but he didn't run enough races to get enough points built up. But very impressive indeed, and he is hounding Tiemann right now.
He is closing down on Marcel Tiemann right now, so this battle is going to get pretty fierce here within the next lap or two if that Ferrari keeps up at the same pace.
You see those cars up front just heading into turn 8. That's the margin to Ortelli and the team number 62 Ferrari. Right in front of him is Long. Right in front of them, relatively speaking, is Lieb. So this GT2 battle, as we've seen all season long, just produces some phenomenal racing. There's Long with Ortelli. That's the battle for second in the category. Long just going out of frame. There's Ortelli in the red Forza Motorsport Risi Competizione Ferrari.
Long just ran the fastest lap in the GT2 class on that last lap. So he has a couple of tenths of Ortelli on the last lap, but Matt Long just a stellar driver in these Porsche machines, and he's really come a long way, really matured as a driver. We always knew he was fast, but now he can win championships. They won here last year. He and York Bergmeister went on to clinch the championship. Right now, they have a lot of momentum.
I mentioned Forza Motorsport. That's not, a partner to Risi. That's the sponsor of the Forza Motorsport game on X box. And whoa, Liz Halliday in the Intersport Lola, the very, very exotic machine, just knifing down underneath into Moss hairpin.
They have a lot more downforce, of course, on the prototype cars, and downforce doesn't just make you go faster through the corners, it really makes you a lot better under braking as well. You get on the brakes a lot later without locking up the tires.
Watching Ortelli, and if that name is familiar to you, he won Le Mans overall in 1998 with a guy named McNish. Now, as we hop on board the number 7 of Lucas Luhr, right now he has gotten around the number 20 of Chris Dyson. They've been running very close lap times. He just didn't have the grunt down the straight to get by, but he found a way past.
Well, this is a tough decision for Lucas Luhr. He's in a battle for the championship now with his ex-teammate Sasha Massa. But right now he's battling P1 cars. See coming through turn 8 traffic up ahead is certainly hindering Chris Dyson. He gets blocked. Lucas Luhr takes advantage of him around the outside of turn 9, then he has the inside for turn 10 on the front straightaway.
The slings and arrows of multi-class racing. Sometimes traffic helps you out. That time it completely handcuffed Dyson, but that's what makes it so interesting here, and Luhr read it beautifully.
He did, and Chris Dyson is a good, clean racer. He realized that he'd made a little mistake, really hurt by the traffic there. Nothing he could do about it. No point in blocking. Just let him go.
About 40 minutes into this 2-hour and 45-minute 8th round of the American Le Mans Series Championship chase, here are your 4 class leaders at the Grand Prix of Mosport. Welcome back to Mosport, everybody, and Butch Schleitzinger leads, but in some serious traffic here right now.
Trying to get around the Corvette there. That hurt his exit speed just a little bit there off Moss, and there we see the 2 Audis in close pursuit. That's Dindo Capello, the first of the 2
Dindo's
silver
got
machines. He really does. Wow, look at that diesel power. Just moves to the outside. Butch will not like to see that.
No, into turn 8, so Leitzinger thwarted here, and Dindo just drove on by. He did get a little bit of help from a tow, but now through 9 up into 10, and we have a new leader. It is Dindo Capello in the Audi, the number 2 Audi, then Leitzinger, then it is Puro in that 3rd car. Down into turn 1 we go, and a little wide. Oh, Capello almost ran up the track.
He did. He got very wide there. Looked like he hit the apex, but then ran very wide, lost a lot of momentum, and Butch was buying a flash.
Well, you know what? He got up on that exit curb, and if those are a little wet from all the rain we've had, that could have been an issue too. First of all, let's go back and take a look at this replay. I mean, he just motored him.
He did. This is looking back down the straightaway, heading into turn 8. He was cleanly by there, didn't have to block or move over, just took the normal racing line. He was through. And we see Dindo getting right. You're absolutely right, Greg. He got up on that curve. It's a little bit damp. You got to be careful. So good experience showing there by Capello by not forcing it, just gradually bringing the car back on, not yanking it off that curb, but lost position.
As I was frequently told in driver's schools that I did, that remain to make mistakes, did everything right.
Compounded.
Yeah, allows Leitzinger to get back and now open that margin up just a little bit. That momentum loss, and now Puro is all over the back of Capello as well. Gotta ask you, in that scenario, when you run wide, you get up there, you made that pass, and then suddenly it gets away from you. Even at that level, as these pro drivers, does it take a lap or 2 to go, okay, get back, or you just go back?
Dindo's pretty cool customer. I mean, he'll just try and calm it down. He's got some traffic now between he and Butch, so he just needs to think about it. But he's on the attack from behind also. He's got his teammate there, Emanuele Puro, who said when he came back to the championship after skipping a couple of rounds, we're just here to help Alan McNish and Dindo Capello win the championship. Well, when you look at Road America, when he scores by him on the restart, he's obviously got different ideas at this stage of the season.
Yeah, they've taken 2 wins.
That's right.
I'm not sure how you're helping your teammates there, but certainly doing yourself no harm. And swinging around, number 31, Peterson White Lightning, Porsche Long, the car that is currently 2nd in GT2, and down into the 3rd turn here. Another great corner. This track is just chock full of them. Down into 4, the sweeping, it dives down and it climbs up into 5 into Moss. Just an incredible facility.
Pretty bumpy there through 4, then hard on the brakes and just squeeze back on the throttle, turn it in, low gear. Just 5 speeds with these diesels, 5.5-litre turbo diesel. About 800 foot-pounds of torque, 650 horsepower. Now we're looking at Sasha Marson in the 6 machine, race early stop. He's a little bit out of sequence, but he has the championship lead right now. His ex-teammate Lucas Lowe wondering what he's up to, as he's now back up into 3rd position in P2. Liz Halliday holds down this runner-up position at the moment.
2 points separate Marson in that championship from Halliday's field. It is exceptionally close right now. Let's go back now up front. Take a look. Butch Leitzinger in the Thetford Norcold Lola is having a very strong run, and you know, when you talk about aggression, the guy that's getting in the car after Butch, pretty aggressive too, Brian.
That's right, Greg. James Weaver, never one to be thought of as being shy, but James, you just watched the pass on the Audi over Butch. He got him back, but I know you guys have some weight concessions. You've gotten some speed back, but what do you do to defend against that Audi power?
The way the rules are at the moment, you know, I think the Audi's still got a better power-to-weight ratio, and they're a little bit quicker up the straight. But certainly when you take weight out of a car, it makes a huge difference to the handling. And there's no question the weight break has given us a handling advantage. But I think overall they still have the upper hand.
You're going to see some excitement when you take the wheel?
I really hope so. Just hope that stops pouring rain again.
Is that good or bad?
Dreadful.
Well, I know the Audi guys don't like the rain either, Calvin. They don't have traction control.
No, they don't. That's a big issue here today. Who has traction control? Who has ABS? The only car with ABS in the field is the GT2 machines of the BMWs. We've only got one left. Haven't seen the 22 car go out. Now, the Audis do have traction controls on the race cars, but they don't really like it right now. They've not got it advanced enough where they want to run. It's not really performing well, and also when you run traction control, it really shocks the whole drivetrain, and that can have some durability issues. They don't want to lose the championship, so they're making the drivers deal with that power that they have, even in wet conditions.
And another Brit, and of course they always have their eyes to the sky, worried about weather. Andrew Marriott has just radioed in that he's feeling some sprinkles down in pit lane. If so, oh boy, Mosport in the wet, don't go away. Of some serious GT1 action here at the Grand Prix of Mosport. Welcome back, everybody. You are looking at the 009 of Pedro Lamy, who is your class leader at this stage in the GT1 category. Sadly, there is the number 3 of Ron Fellows, who's just gone down a lap to that car, and it was a tough moment. We're going to show you how it happened as we watch Liz Halliday sneak by. We're going to go back and show you that it all came down to traffic heading down into Moss.
Down through 4, fast left-hand sweep, but look at Ron Fellows, got completely balked there by the White Lightning car. That allows Lamy to get a good run here. White Lightning car, Pat Long just trying to get out of the way.
You're good.
Danny Binks on the radio. Just trying to keep Ron in form. Then you see the superior straightaway speed of the Aston Martin. We have seen some more performance balancing this weekend, Corvette. They've also had restrictions taken away, but the Corvettes have been hindered a little bit more.
And the Corvettes still carry 198 more pounds, so the launch out of Moss, trying to accelerate out, all of that coming into play, and the Met Boys have said there's a serious straight-line speed discrepancy.
Craig, I just checked in with Dan Binks, the crew chief on the 3 car, and that's exactly what he said. He said it's like trying to run a marathon breathing through a straw. So they're down on power, but Ron Fellows also has a vibration right now. So expect to see the 3 car on pit road pretty soon for a new set of tires.
Well, he did have that knock there with the other Aston Martin in the opening lap. I don't see any bodywork damage, but he may have lost the wheel weight even, or maybe some pickup on the tires. The pickup is the little loose pieces of rubber around the outside of the racetrack. When you run offline, going around some of this traffic, you can't pick that up. That then puts the tire out of balance. That may be what Ron is experiencing right now.
Well, it's just there, you know, his normal line through Moss, through 5A and 5B, he's about 10 feet away from that outside curb. When he got caught up in that traffic around Pat Long, he hit that curb. So, I mean, that, you know, working traffic, you swing so far off what your normal line might be, and if there's that junk out there, these are hot, sticky tires.
They really are. These Michelin tires will pick that up, and it's tough for the drivers to get rid of it. If you get a long duration puller on the front, sometimes it'll scrub it off. Sometimes the driver can actually just work the steering a little bit. That's a touchy thing to do. You've got to be very careful, but when it's on the rear tires, you just need to burn it off, trying to get hard acceleration, but you're really stuck with it. It just takes a few laps to get rid of that and get the car back in balance. Did they see the 6th car? Very tight again. Ron's on the outside. That's where he'll pick up the roll, but look at the Audis. Duking it out right in the middle of GT traffic once again. That was Marcel Thiemann in the 23 machine they were going around.
That's Patrick Long, who's been in the middle of a lot of people coming by. Here's Ortelli, the number 62 Ferrari. That is 3rd in the class. Then Thiemann, who we talked about, right there at Zach Close, and right behind him, the black Ferrari of Villander. So this is your battle, 3rd, 4th, and 5th in GT2, and it's very close. And as a matter of fact, they're only a second and a half shy of Patrick Long in 2nd.
Villander is sniffing right now. He's looking for a way by. I don't think he's going to be patient much longer. If the door cracks open, he's going to barge right through it.
Well, these Ferraris, one with the V8, 2 with the aerodynamics on the car, 3 the mid-engine mount on it, in these long duration corners that they have, where they really should be very good.
They really are, and it's such a big improvement over the 360 that they're running before. The chassis itself is 250% stiff, and that means the torsional rigidity. That allows the suspension to do the work rather than the chassis actually flexing. But look at this. Thiemann has superior straightaway to that Ferrari. It looks like he would be picking up a slight bit of aerodynamic advantage in the graph, but right now, that Porsche is very competitive. We thought he was going to come under fire from behind. He's looking forward.
P2 Porsche just skating through and bringing Chris Dyson in the second Petronorco Lola along with. We hop on board now as they're working through this traffic. The number 7 of Lucas Luhr and GHF Global Mail entry going by Patrick Long. Because Long will be running with this team, as I understand. Petit will hop on board and run one of these P2 Porsches.
He'll be back in here, and the great thing for Lucas Luhr and all of these P2 guys in the Porsches is that they ran GT2 cars before, so they understand the limitations of a GT2 car. They'll know where they can take advantage around this racetrack playing the traffic.
Patrick Long, currently Porsches are in the United States citizen as a factory driver, which says an awful lot. He's thought of in the international racing community right now. And however, getting squeezed in that little bit of traffic, he ended up coming in with getting involved in that car passing him, and now you can see the number 62 of Ortelli is a bit closer.
Well, we talked about the fact that the guys need to play ball together, and you need to get out of the way for the faster classes coming through, but from a second or two in a lap, suddenly you're in a battle for position, and right now Pat Long had a nice advantage over the Ferrari, and that is being gone there pretty quick. They see Marcel Thiemann come through that very fast sweeping right-hander. Pat Long on the front straightaway. Ferrari dropped back a little bit. The Corvette now trying to get around the GT2 car, so it's battles all the way. 4 different classes running together.
That's Beretta and the number 4 Corvette trying to fight their way past. And you can see that Ferrari, when you get into the turn, you can see it's running quick. It's down to grunt. It's not even going to happen here. So Beretta finding traffic in the GT2 category fairly tough. Now, we want to remind you, fan voting for the most popular driver award to be presented at the season-ending championship awards banquet at Laguna Seca is now underway on AmericanLeMans.com. Log on today to cast your vote. Corvette Racing Juan Fellows won for the 2nd year in a row last season. That's www.AmericanLeMans.com. Log on and make your vote count. Speed's coverage of the American Le Mans Series is brought to you by BMW, the ultimate driving machine, and by Klein Tools, tools worth asking for. Coming up on 1 hour complete of this 2 hour and 45-minute endurance contest, the 8th round of the American Le Mans Series, the Grand Prix of Mosport. And we are getting reports now, not just from pit lane and the like, but that our camera folks are noticing a little bit of a sprinkle here and there, some on the lens. So we're keeping a very close eye on what's unfolding. But look at this battle in GT2. And that's the 44, Seth Nyman. this as they're working by, but it worked to good effect, and a great draft by Ortelli was able to launch by him cleanly, and Tiemann looked like he may have had a run for a moment and couldn't get it done. But the two of them have gone away a bit from Villander, but look at Tiemann attack Ortelli.
His car looks more hooked up right now than the Ferrari. Ortelli seems to be chucking the car around. Last time through turn 10, he was almost sideways there when he turned in. He's got really good grip there through turn 1. Seemed to have a bit of an advantage on the Porsche through there, but through the transitional stuff, the tighter stuff, the Porsche looks very good and also looks good down the straightaway, Greg. So this is a pretty even battle over the complete lap. They certainly have pros and cons in terms of where they have an advantage around Mosport.
I was going to ask you about that, because with all the weight of that engine over the drive wheels and the Porsche getting out of Moss probably gives them a pretty good launch, and the car is slipping. It's pretty efficient aerodynamically.
It really is. Gets a great run through here. Let's take another look. Come down at the Moss turn, 5A, then the 5B. Look at Villander, he's right there. This is a great battle. Ebbs and flows here through the laps. Right, Ortelli got a good run there, not under pressure this time from Tiemann, and Tiemann seems to have a bit of a gap on Villander. I think it'll be status quo there. Not far ahead of them, we saw Pat Long in the White Lightning machine, and right now Liz Halliday's having a tremendous run here today, running second in P2, but she's been running some tremendous lap times, low 111s, which around Mosport is just blindingly fast, but she's having to deal with the traffic. Oh, she locks up. Look to the inside. May have missed a downshift there and did it all under braking, trying to slow the car down, just locked up momentarily. Good recovery.
That's a good point. Last lap, Maassen ran a 111.3 and Liz ran a 111.3. So that's saying something really significant about Liz, certainly. Now, this is a track that she ran on previously, so she's got a little bit of experience at this stage. And there comes the number 6 right there, Sasha Maassen. This is the battle for second in P2. Oh, the leader's coming in, and looked like Maassen may have had the opportunity, and then the overall leaders just swamped him.
Wow, look at this stuff. This is action at its best in the American Le Mans Series. Massa's not giving anything away. Butch Leitzinger fights back to the inside. Looked like Dinder was about to make a move for the lead.
And Maassen did get by Liz, as she was the one who ultimately really got caught up in that group of P1 cars swinging through. So Maassen has made the pass, and not only that, Liz got so balked in that traffic that you can see the margin that he now has as he gets up and rounds Ortelli in the Ferrari, and Liz still well back now, right behind. There's Maassen, there's your overall leader, Leitzinger, and you can see how close Capello is in this traffic. It's gone. There is no margin.
3 more classes again. GT2, then P2, then 2 P1 cars. Looking out of the back of Leitzinger. Look how close Capello was there. Pops the curb a little bit. He'll try to launch down here with diesel power. Great torque here, but it looks pretty even on the run down to turn 1. There's Pat Long to the outside.
650 horsepower, 800 plus foot-pounds of torque from these R10 TDI diesel entry. As you look back from Leitzinger, you not only see that car, you see very dark clouds, so that's a concern as well. Capello looking.
He's sniffing, and we saw some sparks again from the front side of the Audi. That's the rub strips, little rubbing blocks they put underneath the nose of the car so it doesn't actually grind down the bodywork or hit the chassis. That's normal. They're cheap to replace it. A monocoque is not.
Now, here will be the key. As Capello, we have seen the straight line speed of this car is amazing. Butch got out of there with a little bit of a margin, and if Butch can get up and get a little toll from Maassen, that would certainly help. See what kind of again Capello can put in. And Butch, well, you can see he made up a lot of ground, but Butch had enough of the margin coming out, and Capello couldn't quite make anything work there. And the number 21 is in, Joey Hand. Out of the car, turning over to Bill Oberlin.
Bill Oberlin, another one of those drivers we mentioned, came overnight from Utah from another sports car event. Didn't have a very good weekend there. He's able to turn it around today. This is the only BMW left in the field right now after Justin Marks' heavy contact with the number 12 machine.
By the way, I want to congratulate Joey as he and his wife Natalie on Sunday, August 27th, a week ago, at Chase Allen Hand. And we've got a change as Capello able to get by Leitzinger. Leitzinger not going quietly, of course, but nonetheless, able to get through. Now traffic, yep, Butch was able to slide through.
Wow, that was great stuff there. That must have happened in turn 2. Look at that. Butch right back on the tail of the Audi. Let's look at the difference in horsepower here up the long and ready straightaway. They're climbing the hill here, but that draft is having an effect. They look pretty equal. You would expect the Audi right now to be out-accelerating. He's pulling away just a little bit there. You come through these different steps. It's almost like steps up that straightaway, different tiers.
By the way, Liz Halliday has the number 37 Intersport car in the pits, but this is awfully compelling action right now. I want to let you know of that development. And let's go back and you can take a look there at the Audi pits. There's McNish looking and enjoying what Dindo was able to do. And here's how that pass happened from our chopper.
There we go, down through turn 2, I believe it is, and then into the brake zone for turn 3. This is where we're seeing incidents today, but again, two pros working well together, just great racing. Look at the exit speed of 2. Capello looks to the inside and just slides it down there. Once you're alongside, you no need to go quicker than the other guy. Just hold position, get back on the power.
And enjoy it from the onboard view, looking back from Butch.
Watch the exit speed of the car behind him. That's Capello. Then on the brakes. Dindo just leaves it a little bit later. Butch, good clean racing there. This is great stuff. One more look there, exit of turn 2, more exit speed, and then just very brave on the brakes down to the inside.
Yeah, Butch gave himself a little cushion to that exit curve at 2 of about 3-4 feet, and Dindo used it, and maybe that was the speed difference right here. And look at that, Emanuele Pirro has just turned the fastest lap of the race at a 1:08.7, and 37 is out, and now Clint Field takes over, and see how they can unfold here in that P2 battle right now. So, a new overall leader and P1 leader with Dindo Capello out front, Bloor, Lamy, and Lieb in the other 3 classes. Monday night on the Lost Drive-In, it's Black Moon Rising. The fastest prototype car on the planet is carrying some deadly cargo, but can anyone catch this 4-wheel rocket? Tommy Lee Jones stars in Black Moon Rising on the Lost Drive-In, Monday, 9 Eastern on Speed. Welcome back, everybody. The 009 of Pedro Lamy leading in GT1, working through a couple of cars involved in an intense, is the only way to put it, battle in GT2 right now. It's the battle for the 4th position in class. Marcel Thiemann in the number 23, Bell Micro, Alex Joe Porsche, and Villander in the Ferrari, the black Ferrari, and Calvin Frank, well, we were great. They got in a little shoving match.
They really did. Look at this down in the turn 10. Talk about optimistic there. Tony Villander just dives it over the curb there as Thiemann was trying to turn in. A little bit of bodywork flying there, and then look at the defensive move by Villander, absolutely forcing Thiemann all the way over to the pit wall. That will not go down well with the officials.
Yeah, past position that lasted 200 feet. It's just been a lot of body work.
They won that spot really bad.
And we're getting a report, a stop-and-go penalty is in the offing for the number 61 Ferrari. Now, I'm sure his argument will be, well, scratch that. Here comes Butch Leitzinger. You just see up front, his team car is left. Brian?
Butch Leitzinger brings the number 16 in. Does not look like they'll do a driver change. In fact, he's staying in the car. It'll be fuel, and I believe they'll leave the Michelin tires on. Routine stop for Butch Leitzinger.
This is huge, double stinging those tires. You can see the mechanics looking.
Andrew?
I'm staggered that Butch is staying in the car, actually, because he had that overnight flight, and we thought he was going to get out of the car. In fact, I spoke to him just before the race. He said, no, I'll do the first in, and I'll let my good colleague continue.
Well, I think the key was by double stinning the tires, you don't want to do a driver change. If the driver change goes bad, that's going to cost you time. You'll typically only want to do a driver change when they're changing tires because that extends the pit stop.
Well, it's cool today. It's not, so fairly decent conditions for the tires depending upon the compound and construction that you decided to start with. Remember, they used that strategy, although it was a late pit stop last year, to get Butch out in front of J.J. Leto, and then he held on for the win. So it's a strategy they seem to like. Meanwhile, the number 7 gets
behind the wheel now. They're taking tires. So Dyson Racing really seem to have a handle on this racetrack. They're quick and they're getting good tire wear. That is critical here. If you can save a tire change here we see Tony Villander serving his penalty. I don't think it was for the initial move over the curbs, even though that was optimistic, certainly. That was that blatant blocking move, moving the 23 car over towards the pit wall. That was out of order.
And here, yeah, the number 1 is in. Pirlo out there putting Frankie Villa behind the wheel. And that car is going to be heading back out. This, too, looks absolutely routine.
Ryan's there. Pirlo out, Villa in. It is a routine.
Finger on the button, Frankie. We're almost ready.
Of them. As Calvin, you said, if they're going to fuel into a driver change, you will do tires. You will do tires. That's exactly what they're doing here. Villa fires up the diesel and is back underway.
Taking tires on the Audi takes about an 11 extra seconds there. It's a little bit heavier front wheel with that wider front tire they're running. Longer wheelbase for the mechanics to run backwards and forwards. Doesn't sound like much, but it's about 8.5 inches longer wheelbase. The distance between the front and rear wheel takes the mechanics a little bit longer to shuffle around and get the change done. So, but with that, you've got about 34 seconds of fuel going in, plus you lose nearly 40 seconds going down pit lane. That's over a lap.
Well, to put it in perspective, the winning margin of victory here in year 2000 was 0.148 seconds. So that 8 inches of carrying an extra wheel, I mean, backing off at times spell the difference.
We've got to see things cycling. Right now you see Frank Villa a little bit twitchy there as he came out of turn 3, trying to get these tires up to temperature. So that's the advantage. If you can keep the tires on, there's no tire warming allowed. So Butch Leitzinger had hot tires. He saved time in the pits. We'll wait for this to cycle, but he should have a good lead, certainly over the number 1 machine. And here we see Alan McNish waiting for Dindo Capello to pit. Looks like he's going to be getting in, so there'll be no double stinting on the Audi here also. You should see a tire change and McNish take over from Capello.
Holding his seat insert is smaller in stature than Capello, and obviously to make that work, they got a molded seat insert that they just snapped into place, and he will hop on board the car. There is Capello leading now, and of course right now comfortably because all the other cars have pitted behind him at this stage, but expect him in very soon.
Now, after this race, both cars and all of the parts that have been used this year will be going back to Germany, back to the factory in Ingolstadt. They're going to research all of the parts at this stage of the season, see what the wear and tear is, look at the fatigue, see if there's anything design-wise that needs to be changed. We've got the big one coming up, the Petit Le Mans Road Atlanta coming up, and that's the next round. So they want to make sure they've got fresh race cars ready for that very critical event.
Audi does not like to be much.
They really don't. I spoke to the team about running in the wet here this weekend. They said, well, we really don't typically get a chance to run in the wet much, but when we did our testing at Paul Ricard, they have a sprinkler system there at Paul Ricard. They turned it on for 2 days, really got a hand on the race car, and they said, what's remarkable about this R10 Audi, you really don't change the car much from the dry setup, and that is perfect, because sometimes you have to compromise the car a lot by running a wet setup. When it goes dry, you're going to lose a lot of speed. But right now, important here is that diesel engine gets great fuel economy. Capello stretching this stint a good 2 laps at least further than his teammate Villa. That will be critical at the end of this race, making a shorter window to do that final stop.
And that fuel economy of the diesel engine, if it rains, goes right through the roof.
It really does. The way the diesel engine operates, partial throttle just really saves masses of fuel. If they said it was really heavy rain here this weekend, 2 hours, 45 minutes event, they could have possibly done it on just 1 stop. Would have been pushing things, but things turned out the right way with wet conditions. That slows things down.
Time to fill, 15 seconds. A good 15 seconds, yeah? Don't go short.
Okay, they're just telling about the fuel that's got to be put in. So Dindo Capello, well under control right now. Here you see he's getting ready.
Box, full service.
I think that's weird. He's actually taking his radial plug out and putting it to the top of his helmet before he's made it all the way to pit lane. So that effectively cuts off the communication process. If they wanted to change anything, I would think that would be the last thing you do once you get into pit lane. Here he comes.
Well, you heard him saying when you hit the box, it'll be full service. And as they were telling him that, he had unplugged and was sticking it on his helmet.
Yeah, that's not good news. I'd want to keep that to the last possible moment. But this Audi pits right at the beginning of pit lane when this gets ready.
Capello stops on his marks, steps out. McNish, the seat insert goes in. Alan McNish behind the wheel of the Audi R2. 5 victories on the season for this driver combination. They lead in the points, and amazingly enough, throughout all the race wins that Dindo Capello has, he's never won an American Le Mans Series P1 championship. Very quick service here. Tires going on. Little slow with the left rear. Butch Leitzinger just going down the back straightaway, and McNish is underway.
Corvette on your left, Corvette on your left. You're clear.
Capello must have done a great job in those laps when he stayed out on track, because Leitzinger should have been up to speed immediately. Yes, he would have had a full fuel load, And here he comes, coming on the front straightaway. It's a very long pit exit here before you can get it up to speed. This is going to be very close.
Number 16 in turn 1.
There he is, but he has cold tires. If Butch is going to pounce, he's got to make it quickly.
All right, so maybe taking the old radio plug out. Serious strategy play here. That was a great stop by the Audi gang, and that car that they just whistled by, I believe, is the 37 Intersport car that is around the track. So big implications in the P2.
Here we go. Look at the difference. Look at the difference. That is hot tires versus cold. Let's see if Butch can get on the power. He needs a gap. No traction control, remember. Once the car is straight, Alan McNish will use full power here. Butch needs to make a move here within this next lap. Otherwise, Alan McNish will be back in the rhythm and be up to speed.
Well, Butch just trying to hang on to any kind of a draft he can at this stage. Now moving to the inside, back. Wasn't close enough to try anything heading into 8. But now it really comes down to how good the tires are. He closes up big time here. Taking a look. No, not at this stage, but what'll happen in 1 or 2?
Here we go. He had a bit more speed through the slow stuff. These long duration corners, the aerodynamics is really having more effect than the tires.
And we understand, Ryan, a fire in the 37, Ryan.
How's the fire extinguisher guy?
Is the car, and you can hear him saying, "Where's the fire extinguisher?" The problem is the brake rotors on this car red hot, so just dry powder is only going to extinguish the fire, but it's going to come back. They need to use cold CO2 to chill down those brake rotors. Obviously, the brake pads grabbing on this car right now have overheated the front brakes. Andrew.
Well, all that drama, and we can hardly see anything here. Absolutely thick and smoke. The two Aston Martins came in together. The 007 car. That's the 007 car leaving now. But Pedro Lamy did an absolutely fantastic job. But real drama here. We've got the Liz Halliday car with all the smoke still coming out of it. So this has been, well, major down here.
That fire extinguisher, that gets in mechanics' eyes very hard to operate and get your job done. So this is not good news for the 37 car. They've got to that position in the points by A, winning racing, but also, most importantly, being consistent and having the durability, Greg.
Well, you can see that is still, if you look at that smoke pouring out of that brake rotors there, which means that they are still incredibly hot at this stage. In the 009, Stefan Sarrazin has taken over from Lamy, and in the points championship, this is a huge break for the Porsche team. Sasha Maassen leads in P2 and in the points. That might expand if this trend continues. Battle for GT1, third spot is immense right now, and it is intermixed with the overall battle for the lead. There's number 3, the CompuWare Corvette, Johnny O'Connell behind the wheel. The green Aston Martin in front, the 007 of Thomas Enge, and that 3 has been chasing that 007 since they had to come in for that penalty, questionable for the early going, and they are at war right now and just going by him as Leitzinger, and just before that, this in the overall battle, working through this here, and right now, Cal, it really looks that Johnny might have the quicker car.
He does, and he's a master here at Mosport. He's had 4 class victories here in the past. If he gets another one today, that would tie a record for most victories at any venue at 5. So he knows how to win here. Right now we see the classic Aston Martin versus Corvette battle.
A little bit of a gap here, that straight line speed of the Aston Martin opening it up just a bit. Now, of course, it's the team Aston Martin, the 009 of Stefan Sarrazin now behind the wheel. And we're going to continue to watch this great battle for third, but let's check in with Andrew, who is with Pedro Lamy.
Yes, I'm with Pedro. Fantastic stint, Pedro. You pulled away from that Corvette. You took 30 seconds out of it.
Yeah, it was quite nice. The car was okay. I mean, I just pushed all the way through and tried to give the best we could during my stint, and went well. So now we are, for the moment, second. We will see how the things goes until the end.
And your thoughts on this classic motor racing circuit?
Yeah, it's great. Nice track. I mean, in wet conditions, very difficult. I think everybody were very afraid. Hopefully it doesn't rain until the end of the race, because it's a nightmare.
thanks very much. We haven't felt any more of that rain in the last 10 minutes or so, folks. And there's Pedro from Portugal.
When Pedro Lamy says he's afraid, that's making a statement. This place is not for sissies.
Oh, I mean, he has driven some amazing stuff. The Oreca prototype Chrysler, German Formula 3000, and the guy is an immensely talented driver. Yeah, when you hear these guys say, "Oh, I don't want to run this place in the wet," that's respect of the highest caliber. And you can see, once again, well, I'll tell you what, the straight line speed of the Aston Martins here is just stunning. The Vets are pretty good in the corners under braking, and that played to their favor at Road America, where you got a lot of braking and everything. But here, it's a momentum track. You're not on the brakes hard anywhere, really, except Moss.
That's right, down into Moss, a little bit for 10, but not hard on the brakes. So it really takes away some of the advantage that the Corvette has. But in dry conditions here, it looks like the Aston Martin has a little bit more speed. And here's the GT2 leader, Brian.
Mark Lee brings his Flying Lizard Porsche in. Johannes van Overbeek will be taking over the seat here. Remember, Van Overbeek, 3 finishes over the last 3 races, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, so they're really heading the wrong direction, while Jörg Bergmeister has been finishing 2nd and winning races. The championship lead now down only to 9 points. As you see Mark Lee helping Johannes with his belts. They will take fuel, and obviously if you're going to do tires, or if you're going to do fuel and driver, you're going to do tires as well. So 4 new Michelins will be going on this Flying Lizard Porsche. Should be a routine stop. Everything going well so far. This team always very, very quick with their pit stops. Right side tires are done. The left side tires just about done. And Johannes van Overbeek will leave pit lane to chase his GT2 championship.
Brian, that stop happened right at the halfway point, so you can see the crew very happy. But the question to ask is, remember, he's had a bad shoulder, Johannes has, from Le Mans. How is it, you know?
Well, it's getting better, Greg. That rest that we had a couple of weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks between races, really helped. The doctors told him after Le Mans that shoulder should be in a sling for 8 weeks. Well, 4 of those weeks he was driving a race car.
You're not going to give up a championship lead. You're going to do whatever it takes. But you talked about it, Greg, halfway. That means we're going to see a bunch of these GT2 cars coming in now. They shouldn't need another stop unless they have problems. But that was Stefan Pfeiffer clapping his hands. Remember, he was the crew chief on the White Lightning team last year that won the championship. Flying Lizard went after him. They got him under their wings. And right now he's leading the championship charge once again.
Yeah, that Portal Player iPass team, the number 45 in particular, have really had a stout season. As we talked about, they faded a little bit with some results, but boy, running at the front here all the way up until that stop. So things are going well, and the other cars have to stop, and the number 31 is one of them. Andrew?
Yeah, the 31's in. Pat Long is already out of the car. They're just pulling the strip off the windscreen. And Jörg Meister's been working so hard this weekend. He's being strapped in. We're getting a fresh set of Michelin going on to this. And obviously the battle will recommence as soon as you get back on the pit lane. Pat Long climbing out, looking very calm and collected. So I think everything's going well down here. The fuel's still going in to the White Lightning car.
Well, Pat starting this year, and of course last year he ended up sitting in the gravel trap when the axle broke, but they had enough laps on the field that they were still able to pull off the win, putting Jörg behind the wheel and going for tight.
Flying Lizard had a perfect... There's something going on underneath the left front there. So is this a problem or not? Mechanic looks underneath. May have had to tear something away. Let's go back to Andrew.
Yeah, they did tear something away, but I think they've sorted it now. But now they've got 2 different wheel nuts they've been playing around. Now they've sorted it. Now it's fine. And now the rear goes on, but obviously time lost in this.
Huge time.
This is crucial. The 45 pit stop was perfect. We saw the team very happy with that one. That was not clean. This will cost them track position. Sometimes they put some tape on for the cooling and such, but not typically underneath the nose like that. It's normally on the exterior, the fascia of the front of the car, not underneath the wheel well where you can't get to it. Maybe you just got something caught up there, some debris.
Well, this team known for executing incredible stops. As a matter of fact, Road America won the climb to his pit stop semifinal round there, so they are very good at it, but things happen, and it appears to have happened to the number 31 Peterson White Lightning team. Here are your 4 class leaders. We are back at Mosport. Action continuing here past the halfway point. And, ooh, the number 6. Bernard's trying to sneak underneath Bergmeister. And I don't know that Jörg realized he was quite there. Finally did let him go through. And then here comes the rest of the pack streaming through. And Guy Smith is on a flyer. Guy is absolutely lapping at a tremendous pace right now and has gone around Vila and picked up 3rd overall, I believe.
The 20 car is hooked up right before Chris Dyson pitted. He ran a mid-8, and Guy Smith is now eclipsed that mark, so the 20 car is really hooking up as we're getting some rubber down here. Remember, we had a lot of rain here this weekend. That will have washed the track clean. Now we get some rubber down. That's the key. You've got to try and anticipate which way the track is going to go. If you go a little bit stiffer with the car, once you get some rubber down, you'll then be able to pick up some grip.
I think a couple of things have happened this season for Guy Smith. One, having the first full season of competition. We'll get back to that. Brian?
Olivier Barretto brings the GT1 leading Corvette to pit road. Oliver Gavin will take over. Team running so strong. Flawless. Now remember, they're on a little bit of a different pit stop strategy because of the penalty assessed to the 3 car early on. They did stop during that first full course caution. Full load of fuel, 4 Michelin tires. Oliver Gavin is strapped in, just waiting for the last tires to go on. The left rear going on. Car should be down, and they should be on.
Can they get to the end of this race? I think they're going to be pushing it to do it without a splash of fuel. As we see some caution there, it's about an hour and 10 to run right now. A little bit more than that.
Well, splitting the strategies, which the Corvette team also did at Road America, worked there for the 3 car. Mike just worked here for the 4 car of Gavin and Beretta. That car back out on track, pitted from the lead. Now here's the number 31. The MM5 Peterson Airways White Lightning portion, now with Jörg Bergmeister behind the wheel. Had that problematic stop. Andrew is with Patrick Long.
Yes, I am. Just to explain that stop, they actually altered the anti-sway bar. That's what they were doing under that left front wheel arch there. Pat Long is with me. Pat, I've just talked about that alteration. You've got a bit of understeer, I guess.
Yeah, you know, the track's changed a lot since it's been raining this last 24 hours, and struggled quite a bit out there, but it seemed like everybody did. So we're from Vegas, this team's from Vegas, and they're going to gamble, make a sway bar change, and hope it pays off at the end of the race.
It really was a big battle out there with the Ferraris.
Yeah, you know, we had to start from the back, unfortunately, so it was quite eventful coming up through. I had to get past both of them, and that was a little bit wild. Stefan ran pretty clean, and I was able to stay in front of him, but he was pushing me pretty hard.
Last year, Pat, you won the class here in the gravel.
Yeah, that was something I guess that'll never be repeated as the rules have been changed, but we definitely had our luck on our side last year here, but hopefully we won't need any luck, and we'll just outrun them on pace today.
Pat, can you confirm you're going to be driving the Spider in the next race?
Yeah, I will be in the Spider at Petit Le Mans. I'm looking forward to that. Unfortunately, I can't run for a championship in either one of the classes, but it was worth it to have that experience with the Penske Group and Porsche.
Thanks very much, Pat Long.
About the front anti-roll bar, that's really a piece of like a piece of metal that connects the 2 front corners of the car and stops the car from rolling too much. Typically, if you've got too much understeer, you want to soften that off, but sometimes it'll work both ways. I would have thought if they were gambling on it being wet this afternoon, they may have gone a little bit softer, but then if you get too much roll, that can have the same effect. So certainly gambled there, a little bit of a setup, and it cost them probably 10-15 seconds in the pit lane.
And Mr. McNish is, in fact, continuing to lead here and is now looking fairly comfortable with a little bit of room and driving a very, very stout pace at this stage. But while we were in a commercial break, there was some pretty interesting action that was going on with McNish and Butch Leitzinger. Check this out.
On board with Butch, slicing down the inside of one of the Panos in GT2. Again, McNish made the mistake that Capello did, got very wide through 1, got on the painted rumble strip. And look at this, Butch Leitzinger slices to the inside for turn 3. How does McNish respond? That was for the lead.
But then, 1 lap later, watch this.
Same part of the racetrack through turn 1, Aston Martin up ahead. Butch gets balked. And look at that, McNish in a flash goes by. Just good clean racing again by Butch Leitzinger this afternoon. He doesn't want to do anything dodgy and block. Let's let Alan McNish go, but once you let Alan McNish get in a rhythm, he's just taken off.
He has indeed the official margin now 6 seconds, and that was just in a couple of laps, and of course, Butch got badly balked. We'll be back to Mosport. Welcome back, everybody. We want to remind you the next round of the American Le Mans Series is one of the great endurance races of all time. At Road Atlanta, it is the Petit Le Mans, and it'll be coming at you live Saturday, September 30th. Air times begin at 11:30 a.m. There will be a break. Then at 3 p.m. Eastern, you will be back for 7 hours of live coverage right to the end. And you notice in the logo, there's been a new partnership agreement announced with Mazda North America. Oh! Left rear corner, sorry, that is the 45, our class leader, Van Overbeck, and points leader in GT2. This is huge, Cal.
This really is. This is dramatic stuff. He's going to lose several positions here. He has to be patient. He has to get that car back to the pits without doing any further damage. But anything over about 60, 70 miles an hour will do that. This is the new leader in class, Gunnar Jeanette in the 51 machine. What a shot in the arm for this team. They won Sebring in round 1. Have had very little success since. But right now, look at this.
He is a
I got a bad vibration coming through 9. 10 felt pretty strange. Almost lost it 1, and then finally came around in 3.
He's only in 5 right now, Cal. That's a long way to go, mile plus.
It is. The tire's certainly down, but that rim is really moving around a lot. I'm not sure if it's just damaged the rim. That's what we're seeing, or whether the wheel has come loose as well.
Back and take a look at the incident itself, and you heard the radio chatter.
Here he comes. See him under braking already. He's feeling it. Turns in and then just pops. Look at that. See the crossweight in the car?
Right in front of McNish.
Oh, wow. Diagonally across the car. Sideways, there's McNish. Doesn't panic. No lock up on the Audi. Just sneaks through. That's experience.
Boy, that it just suddenly let go, so you know, had to have been cut down or something.
Gotta be careful there. One of the traits of the Michelin tires, quite remarkable. We know they have great performance and great speed, but they don't fly apart quickly. But 2.5 miles around Mosport, certainly going to test that. Look at the trend here. 3 podiums, then a 4th and a 5th. In fact, they had 5 podiums to start the season. And just recently they've lost their mojo just a little bit, but today looked like they had it back.
Yeah.
Mark Lee taking the lead. This is a bad break for this team. Hopefully they can keep on the same lap as the GT2 leader. There's not too much damage to this car as he gets to pit lane finally.
And this happened from the lead, so I mean, Van Overbeck doing a tremendous job as well. A lot of movement on that left rear rim.
Sure, they'll check this out.
Brian?
The car comes to a stop, and there's a lot of metal shavings inside that left rear wheel. And I saw it wobbling too, guys, as it came to a stop. Yeah, it's loose. The wheel itself looks to be loose on the hub. I didn't see the hub loose, but it's going to take some effort to get it off. See the wheel move around on the hub as the crew guys try to get the lug nut off. A lot of times if it doesn't seem all the way up there, it'll begin to move. Keeper is on the back of the hub. Crew members grabbing the hub right now saying, no, the hub seems to be fine. Perhaps the wheel just coming loose. That seems like a very, very strange deal. Checking it one more time. Say you're good to go. Van Overbeck, car down off the jack, fires it up, back on track.
Maybe what happened there was the tire went down. When the wheel then hit the ground with such force, it loosened up the wheel nut. They have a locking pin on there that stops the wheel nut from coming off, and the wheel just taking off on its own, but that's a huge break. That's the 62 machine, the Ferrari right now. Johnny Molan behind the wheel, currently running second. Andrew.
Yes, I'm with the driver. It's climbed out of that car. We see Stefan Ortelli working really hard and battling with those Porsches, Stefan.
I think it's a fantastic battle. We've been a bit quicker in the test, and here in the race, we try to be very conservative on the fuel to make at the minimum of the time, and at this speed it's a bit slow in the straight line, but we have such a good car in the corner. The car has been so far the best car and the quickest car. In the race we are a bit slower, but we try to be conservative with the fuel. You know, it's an average. Maybe we are right, maybe we will not be right. Only at the end of the race we can see if we did the right choice or not.
Thanks very much, Stefan.
Alan McNish to pit road. I don't really understand this stop. He'll take fuel. I'm sure it's just time. They'll fill it just over an hour to go, about an hour and 5 5 minutes, it seems to be routine, but I thought earlier they would have gotten it done, although they did talk about a 15-second fuel stop on that last driver change. So McNish sits patiently in the car while he takes diesel fuel only. Michelin tires will stay on, and once the fueler pulls out, he will refire this Audi diesel engine and be back on track. But meanwhile, Butch Leitzinger has taken over the lead.
I think what they did is they got in their window where they could get to the end of this race without needing more fuel, and they believed they felt they could go into the pit lane. They're still waiting for those last drops of fuel and not go down a lap. The key is now, if we get a yellow flag, the pits will be closed. Alan McNish will not now be affected by that.
And he had built up a margin of 10 seconds over Leitzinger. There was enough of a cushion. Maybe it was the opportune time indeed. We'll find out, but Leitzinger now leads. Welcome back to Mosport. If you're just joining us here for this 8th round at the start, and again, the field based on practice times, they were let go and got a good jump. But look at this. This was coming on to get the start. Wow. The 007 easing across, got tapped by the 3 car. They brought the 3 car in, Fellows, for a penalty. Not happy with that, and it was maybe a little iffy. Then, watch this. McMurray underneath Maxwell's Panos. They touched. Maxwell off hard, involved a couple other cars. Both of them felt the other one was wrong. Watch this here, the number 6 getting around the number 37 in the P2 battle. And then they had, the 37 car had some serious brake issues, Cal.
They did, and this could cost them dearly in the championship. You have to get to 70% distance to get points here, so the 37 squad really need to try and get that car home today.
And then a little bit later on, McNish running wide, the 16 of Leitzinger, taking the lead back and doing it very smartly. You can see right there McNish, but it was quick to change as he got balked and bang, McNish right on by.
That's just great clean racing by Butch. He didn't take all of the racetrack. He gave Alan a lane there.
And then the 45 having a cut tire, perhaps by contact, we're hearing it there. The 51 Panos of Gunnar Jeanette drives by and picks up the GT2 class lead in a team that could certainly use a good result. Great to see that.
It really is. They've been working really hard with the Panos. They need a bit more front downforce to get a good balance on that race car. They were looking forward to this racetrack. GT2, second place car is in. This is a problem. This is unscheduled.
Bergmeister brings it in, and the crew looks to be very concerned, grabbing some tools. By the way, the 51 also pitted, turned over to Tom Milner, so they have dropped back in the order as the pit stop cycle, but they are working on something, and they got the toolbox and working on, is that inside the cockpit they're working?
It is, the door is open. That's the new leader in GT2 now. The Ferrari assumes the lead with Johnny Molan, but this is big championship implications too. The 31 car was second in points. They would have assumed the lead the way things stood right now without this pit stop over the 45, so big problems there.
And the 37 comes in, field in again, so problems for that car.
Yeah, I think the problem here is with the gear leakage. They're working on the spanners around the gear leakage, and yeah, absolutely confirmed. That is the problem down here, and that's going to take quite a while.
Whatever the stop was for the 37, Cal, it was very brief, something of concern for Clint, and they sent him right back out again.
Didn't sound that clean when he was accelerating away. We could hear it on Andrew's microphone there, but this is devastating blow to the 31 machine. They really had the momentum at this stage of the season. Looked like another race or two, they would assume the championship lead the way things were going, but Bergmeister clinched the championship yesterday in prototype racing. He thought today would be his day to make a big move.
There's your class leader of Molam. And that's with this long stop by Bergmeister. Bill Oberlin and the number 21, Johan BMW, should move up into the second spot. And again, another tremendous performance by the BMW.
They really have come on strong the last couple of rounds. I mean, they just really found something in that tire. The brakes have always been good this year, it seems. That's really been the highlight of the car. They've really struggled a little bit with straightaway speed. BMW has a bigger greenhouse. That's really the footprint of the car as it goes through the air. Causes a bit more drag. But they've really got a handle on the car and the tire. tires, and they seem to be making them consistent. Earlier in the year, they had speed, but they'd go away after just a handful of laps. Now they seem to get through a full stint with no drama.
Johnny Mollum driving this number 62 Ferrari right now. And keep in mind, it's a bit of a homecoming for him. It was here last year when he and Borchler in the Saline put in a very, very strong performance. And Johnny really was looking forward to coming back to Mosport and having a run in the American Le Mans Series once again. They've had a great couple of recent races. Johnny and the Aston Martin team has in the Speed World Challenge GT Championship, but he wanted to be back here in the ALMS car. And look at the niche, just a slot car right around the outside.
They're buddies, they're good buddies over in Europe, and Johnny Mollum, Alan McNish. But Johnny didn't have a smooth weekend, had a couple of spins, really struggled to get to grips with the Ferrari, but right now he's up to speed and getting a rhythm, dry racetrack. He didn't like the wet.
So the 62 Ferrari leads in the GT2 category up front. Butch Leitzinger leads overall. Tonight on Speed, step into the wind tunnel with Dave Despain. Get fired up, then fill Dave's voicemail at 1-866-W-TUNNEL all weekend long. The more animated, the more you'll be heard. Don't miss Wind Tunnel as Dave Despain squares off with World of Outlaws driver Rick Eckert. Tonight, 9 Eastern on Speed.
Back of Orbital in there. Here we see Guy Smith. He's the new leader with that pit stop by James Weaver. The 20 car. He needs to stop, though. The car's right behind him. McNish and Weaver, they do not.
Now that stop you alluded to, Calvin, happened while we were in break. Leitzinger brought the 16 in from the lead, turned it over to Weaver, and it was not a stop that went all together very smoothly. Problems, as I don't think the nut came out of the gun. Watch this.
Puts the nut on, and he realized he's got a nut in the gun still. The nut stayed in there. Let's go down to Brian.
Well, they came in the Tetford Norcold Dyson Lowland. You saw the problems with the wheel gun on the front. Certainly that cost seconds. The other thing is both of these Dyson cars running an intermediate setup. They were unsure of the weather. So part of the problem was they just don't have an ideal setup on the car right now. So James Weaver said even once we get back out there, we may not be as fast as we should be. We may not be able to keep up with those Audis. Butch, great run, bud. Great run, keeping the car up front, leading for a while. Not bad for a guy that came in on the red eye.
Well, I mean, it was pretty clear-eyed tonight, but the adrenaline will take it home pretty well.
You always seem to have a setup for this racetrack. What makes a car work well around here? And it looked like, actually, with the exception of the straight line portions, you guys had something for the Audis.
Yeah, the car is very good. And we're very good in traffic. The Audi is also. I think their torque helps them a little bit in traffic. If they lose momentum, it's not quite as crucial to them. But it's still a good race, and James has been the fastest all weekend. So I think once he's in the car now, I think it's a real race.
Well, he said he's going to give us some excitement, guys. Keep your eyes on him. And by the way, Calvin, Butch had the best seat on the plane last night. He actually got to sleep.
He did. By the time we got on that plane, all the recliners were gone, and we were sitting on like a toolbox. Well, it's a toolbox in a private jet, so it can't be too bad. But
I was going to say, yeah, here's the word. If you can see it, I'm playing the world's smallest violin for you right now. Yes, we're on board with Weaver, and he has been spectacular, folks. He had the fastest lap. That's why in practice, that's why that car started on the pole, if you will. And every time he went out near the end, he was able to throw down some very quick laps. And they just have a handle on this track. And Weaver, like every driver, just loves it.
He does. They really excel here. They have a great handle on the racetrack, but they certainly talk about compromising the setup. We mentioned earlier in the show, the Audi does not need to change the car much to make it work in the wet, and that's really a huge advantage. Some of the setup change, I mean, remember, it didn't really dry out till about an hour before the race. There's a lot of uncertainty about which way to go with the setup. The Audi boys just sit there and be confident either way. All they needed to do was change tires and a couple of other things. With these guys, they've been working on cambers, different spring packages, shock setups, so a lot more changes going on with this Lola to make it quick in both wet and dry.
And Weaver rolls onto the front straight, and we want to remind you, if you like James Weaver, well, fan nominations are now being accepted for the prestigious From the Fans Award on AmericanLeMans.com. Through mid-September, fan nominations will be accepted, and then the group of nominees will be reduced to the top 5 vote-getters. before a final period of fan voting ending with the checkered flag at Petit Le Mans, September 30th. The annual From the Fans Award presented at the Championship Banquet in Laguna Seca, October 22nd. AmericanLeMans.com. Log on today. Jean Richard is the official timekeeper of the American Le Mans Series, and that beautiful Jean Richard clock tells us that we are just a little bit over 45 minutes remaining in this event, and you are looking at your race leader is Guy Smith, the number 20, Shepherd Norco Lola, and I was talking about a little bit earlier, I think a couple things have happened for Guy Smith. One, certainly it's his first full season of racing in a program in a number of years. Two, this car is starting to really come alive now. He led some 50 laps at Portland, and I think he said it was the first time he led a sports car race since 03 in Le Mans when he won, and I think he right now is really hitting his form.
He really is. He's got some confidence. He's now believing in this Lola chassis. They've had a lot of gremlins in the early races really stop them from making much progress. Just stop sheer track time. I mean, for guys to get comfortable with a race car, you got to run the race car. They were losing a lot of sessions every weekend and really found themselves behind the 8-ball, weren't getting the car dialed in. And then you're driving a car that's like at 90%. Right now, the weekends are getting a bit smoother, and then that's certainly giving him the confidence behind the wheel, and he's performing.
And while, by the way, we also had a flurry of pit stops that happened while we were in break, and also looking at some other things. One of them was Frank Vila.
It was, and he's now assumed 4th position. And I think it's going to be a tough road for Frank Vila to really climb any further than that. Certainly Guy Smith has to make a pit stop here yet to get to the checkered flag this afternoon, but certainly McNish seems to be in the right position right now. He's ahead of James Weaver. Those guys have all made their stops. Guy Smith will need fuel soon.
Frank Vila brought his number 1 Audi to pit road routine service. Just a splash of diesel fuel, enough to get him to the end, as did Timo Bernhard and Romain Dumas with their respective Porsche Spyders. Fuel only, splash of fuel, and they should be good to go to the checkered flag, guys.
And Brian, we're hearing on the radio to be expecting the number 20 in within 4 or 5 laps. So Guy Smith will be bringing that car in fairly shortly as well, leading right now.
We'll see him working the traffic.
By the way, I'm just going to mention the 37. It was my mistake. I said that they made a quick pit stop. They had been behind the wall fixing that brake problem, brought the car out. Rules are you have to turn it off so it restarts under its own power. That's ACO Le Mans rules, and that's what happened, and they drove out. The question was, they were behind the wall for a long time. 70% of the race distance you have to complete. You did some number crunching. You think they barely, but they might be okay?
I think they're okay. Very, very unofficial. They're 29 laps down right now. I'm anticipating the race going about 125, so I think they're okay if they stay within that margin.
Now let's take a look around at some of the great onboard shots that we have here. The ceiling has lifted just a little bit, so onboard's looking pretty good. This is the 007 Aston Martin now in the hands of the tremendous Czech driver, Tomáš Enga, and just a great view here from the top as they're rocking through. That's his teammate. Team car right in front. Let's just enjoy the sound of this screaming Aston Martin V12.
Together. Joey's come on leaps and bounds over the last 2 or 3 seasons. Now is able to match Bill's pace at most race circuits, and that's what you're looking for from a team perspective.
And Joey Hand continues to lap here at Mosport. Guy Smith leads overall. Dumas in P2, Sarazan in GT1, Bolam in GT2.
Guys, it's going to be a time stop. Remember to shut the engine off.
In ALMS competition from Mosport on pit road, Guy Smith sits in his Lola dual only as Alan McNish flashes by the front straightaway, takes the lead, but Guy Smith back underway. And the fastest race lap in the last round from the American Le Mans Series, can he catch Alan McNish?
And can he get second place over his teammate James Weaver? That's going to be tight as well as everyone cycles here having completed their pit stops.
Glenn's back on. Meanwhile, here's Weaver on board, and he's well back yet at the run down the Andretti straightaway, and he had actually gone down a lap. So Weaver, really right now, these guys need a caution of some sort to work out to give them any kind of a break right now.
They do. That pit stop with the fumbled wheel change there really cost them dearly.
On the stop, guys, I noticed on the left front of that car, the dive planes on the left front and part of the nose broken. We saw the problem for the 45 car early on. The report from that 45, the Flying Lizard team, was they had contact with one of the Dyson Lolas. I think I know which one it was. Right now, you got to believe that some of those aerodynamic devices on the left front of Guy Smith's Lola not working the way they should.
Well, those dive planes add about 75 pounds of downforce. That's equivalent to Brian Till's hair kit, so that's a lot of downforce. Wow.
After a red eye together.
I know you'd be slow coming back, and that's why I went for it.
That one shot, huh?
Yeah.
Now, Guy Smith, now we get to see just what this gentleman is all about. We know he's fast. He has been very spectacular, and we just have to see. Stuff like this isn't going to help.
Oh, waving his fist there. He's not happy.
Yeah, like the guy that may have tinked him before.
Yeah. But like they said before, they can't just evaporate. I mean, you're on the racing line going through a very difficult corner. You've got your hands full. And yes, it's frustrating for the faster car, but you've got to be patient.
And waving your fist really doesn't help. More aero track, that's right. Out of Moss. Hard on the throttle, that V8 8-yard turbo engine. Coming up the long Andretti straightaway. And the margin now, with the exchange and the cycling last time by 19 seconds, and Guy Smith is adrift of McNish right now. And we're coming up on, well, basically 40 minutes left to go in this race. So it's all going to come down at this stage, Calvin, to lap time.
It is. I mean, ideally, we need to see a caution period here to see a really great race develop. Remember, McNish pitted, took fuel only, no tires. So he's going to be really stretching things with those Michelin tires. I mean, in the past with the R8, we saw those guys double, sometimes triple stint, certainly at places like Le Mans, the endurance races. But with the R10, it's a little bit more demanding on their chassis and tire fronts. So they really haven't got quite the handle they did before. And that's something they're going to work on. They realize there's a bit of development to be done on the R10 just to get back to where they were with the R8 in terms of tire wear.
But Smith, when he stopped in the 2010 for North did not take part either.
Right, but he's on a slightly different sequence, so yes, you're right. He's going to be double stinting to effect too, but Allen's would have a bit more wear on them. The guy who's really in pretty good shape would be Weaver.
Well, on the other side of that coin too is the fact that with the balance of performance that IMSA has used, that Dyson car a lot lighter, which means easier on tires, correct?
It should be. I mean, again, it's all about balance. But we talk about the fact Dyson Racing have a great handler here at Mosport Park in terms of the balance of the race car. So look at the rear corner. Look at Beeler's car there. The right rear quarter panel right behind the wheel is missing. So there's been contact of some description. That will certainly affect things.
Yeah, the whole back of that left rear the corner is gone. The right rear corner is down. See if we can check it out.
His teammate about to put a lap on him, Alan McNish. He needs to be careful. Team will be making Frank aware.
Oh, a little help here?
Look, that's the 7 car. That's Dumas.
You bet.
He does. He clips him pretty good there. Hard to break an Audi, but a Porsche's pretty tough too.
Apparently, watch this. Try to get down underneath, misjudge it.
Accelerate off that turn a little bit quicker. Just got caught out by it. At that point in the corner through the apex, you're really just sort of like off the brakes, but not quite on the power yet. You've got rolling speed through the middle of the corner, and that's what did it.
McNish just put Vila down a lap, but you know, you think, okay, how's it affected the car now? But he didn't look that quick before him.
No, it doesn't seem like they have quite the pace of the number 2 car, and here's McNish. Just needs to be careful. These guys on a roll here. They've had 5 victories in LMP1 this year. Looking for this 6. Just really get a throttle hold on this prototype crown.
So McNish continuing to work through traffic here. And interestingly, speaking of traffic, the Star Mazda Championship with a huge field also ran here this weekend, and they had a great race yesterday. We're back, everybody. Want to remind you once again, the next round of the American Le Mans Series Championship, Road Atlanta, great track. The Petit Le Mans, one of the great events. Saturday, September 30th, 11:30 a.m. The first bit, a little bit of a break, and then back for 7 straight hours to the finish at 3 p.m. As we were telling you a bit earlier, a new agreement. It's a very special one, a partnership between Mazda North American Operations and Road Atlanta, and it's reflected in the name, as you see on the graphic of the round 9 of the American Le Mans Series. It's the Petit Le Mans powered by Mazda CX-7. So great news for the track with that partnership. GT1 leader on pit road. Andrew?
Yes, I'm here. They're going to put a fresh set of Pirellis on here. They just put the fuel in. Everything seems to be going absolutely fine. And Stéphane Sarrazin from France is staying in the car. So certainly this looking very good for Aston Martin here in Canada.
By the way, folks, you may have noticed on the top of the rear fenders on the Aston Martins, it says Jeffries. That's the Jeffries Investment Company, which is owned basically by the owner of Johnny Molim's Aston Martin in the World Challenge GT Championship. So a little bit of cross-promotion going on. Great news for Aston Martin to get a little help from Jeffries. Like that, and Sarrazin back out and underway.
This guy has a lot of talent. I mean, he runs in the World Rally Championship, owning the asphalt rallies, so he runs for ProDrive over there. ProDrive, people over here may not know much about the operation, but they have 1,000 employees over all the course of their different operations they have going on, and they've been awarded the 12th Formula 1 team, 11 Formula 1 teams right now. They have the 12th, which will start in 2008.
Yes, you were just talking about the Jeffries name on the Aston Martin. A lot of intrigue at the moment. The Aston Martin company, of course, is currently owned by Ford. Part of their Premier Motor Group also includes Volvo. But they are allegedly trying to sell it off. And there's a group that is involved with the Johnny Molim Aston Martin, may even be trying to buy the company. So watch this space, folks.
Interesting scoop. Doesn't ProDrive, I mean, he owns the rights and promotes the World Rally Championship.
Yeah.
I mean, they have their hands in a lot of different cookie jars.
They really do, and they run a great race team, some great personnel over here. They really enjoy that battle with Corvette for GT1 honors, and that championship is far from over. That's really good to tighten up here today if the Aston Martin can take the victory. Here we're watching James Weaver on board. Look at him fighting there. The G-lows through turn 2 are just tremendous. He'll be holding his head up. They have these little helmet straps sometimes to help them out.
And by the way, while we were in break, well, let's take a look at what's unfolding here in GT1 right now. Scoring shows the number 4 CompuWare but Gavin is up front.
But I think he's going to need a splash of fuel. He pitted, remember, Greg, there was about an hour and 15 minutes left, and typically they can't stretch it that far, but you never know with the Corvette boys. They have a lot of tricks up their sleeve. They're going to need one today.
Well, they did that split strategy after the problem and that penalty for the 3 Corvette.
I know you guys will be shocked at this, but I did check in with Doug Feehan, and he looked at me and said, do you really think I'm going to tell you whether we can go an hour and 10 minutes? So I guess we'll just have to wait to find out, guys, because they're not playing their cards down here yet.
Well, they need a bit of help if they do need a splash, so they're going to need some caution help here if we're going to see that Corvette back in victory lane. Whoa, that was tight. Weaver trying to pull everything he can from the Corvette's draft. I mean, these GT1 cars really get going down the straightaways. Even the prototypes will get some effect by tucking up underneath. That might have been the gear shift there on the Corvette, a little bit slower. And he caught James out as he whipped behind him.
By the way, a couple of laps ago, Guy Smith turned a 107. I think it was a 107.8, Cal, and by our reckoning, that's a new fast lap. When he's clear of traffic, he is absolutely flying right now, but McNish responds now with a 108.5, so that is working very well. A huge crowd on hand. We had a massive crowd last year, and I'll tell you what, folks, coming to the booth today, it looked way bigger. They're enjoying a good one. That really is a neat function. I've enjoyed that a couple of times. But I want to watch some. Oh, that's right. Speed Man, there's the show I missed on the DVR. Good stuff. Check it out. On board now, speaking of good stuff, with Romain Dumas in the number 7 class leading P2 right now, and the DHL Global Mail Porsche. Boy, that hitting that Porsche engine. Nearly 11,000 there. A head movement by Dumas down the straightaway. Getting some buffeting there. One of these little windshields and a little strip across the front of the bodywork there to try and kick the air up over the helmet. That will really fatigue the driver quickly. But right now, if these positions remain as they are with Dumas and Lucas Lurt in front, Timo Bernard, Sasha Masson behind, that'll mean that Lucas Lurt and Sasha Masson will then be tied for the championship lead. And they got split at the last race. They finished 1-2 with Sasha's car in front. To reverse the process here today for the 7 machine. Bernard right now 18 seconds back of Dumas, so they're not obviously on top of each other at this stage, but it's not a huge margin as we now have 25 minutes remaining in this race, so lots of race left.
There is, and Dumas needs a good result. He got into trouble at Portland, had a couple of scuffles in traffic there, got some body work done, he sent the car back to pit road, back to the paddock area, and then at Road America looked like they could have won, then he jumped the restart. Now as the pace car was accelerating up the hill of Road America, he went too early, had to do a penalty stop there, so I'm sure in his heart he feels he needs to get back into the rhythm here and try and get a victory and get back in the good graces of the team.
There is the 6 of Bernard right now, and as we said, about 18 seconds adrift. They are throwing down in clear traffic almost identical laps, low 110 lap after lap after lap when they don't have traffic. So that's the bad news, because Bernard just not able to eat in to Dumas' lead at all when they are in clear track. Now we go to GT1, and there is the number 4 of Ollie Gavin, the CompuWare vet. And right now that car is shown to have a pretty decent lead, but the question is, do they need to make a splash? And actually, the lead that they had, that has shrunk rather noticeably from the last time we looked at the monitor. And the reason is Gavin just turned a 118.5. Saracen throwing down 115s.
Just picking up on that Corvette, will it or won't it stop? I just spoke to George Howard Chapel, the boss of Aston Martin. Said, do you think the Corvette's going to stop? He says, we're not certain. It's going to be very, very close. They might just make it.
Well, I wonder if that is exactly why we're seeing those times of the Corvette backed off by 2-3 seconds from what they were running. Is he in conservation?
Well, there's tire issues too. I mean, Gavin's really stretching the limit even for Michelin's here, and the Pirellis are relatively fresh on the 009. And these teams, I mean, the Aston Martin team tested here early in the week for 2 days, really got the tires sorted out for this weekend, and that really gave them a leg up on the start of this race weekend. The Corvette team really doesn't do much testing outside of the regular race weekend, and look at this. Saracen just slicing the lead.
And we know that Aston Martin has tremendous straight line pace. So Sarazen's close coming out of Moss. This could be game over right there. Ooh, bit of a bobble there.
There's a bump there in 4. You gotta be careful there, and he's trying to rush through there. He's trying to get close enough here to take advantage, but he needs to realize he has a much faster race car.
He's gonna pull on you. There he goes.
To the Corvette crew, Ray Gongler, I believe, on the radio. Ollie Gavin just making him aware, and Ollie should be a sitting duck here.
Smartly
going left, going left.
Fighter out. Ollie Gavin doesn't want to give up that lead position. This is great stuff. Whilst this is happening, the number 3 car is on pit lane, Greg.
And the number 3 of Guy Smith, who was impatient, trying to run down McNish, just joining the mix. Here's the stop. He saw they were taking tires. Oh, and that Smith getting by the Aston Martin helped Gavin just a little bit there.
Routine stop down here for Johnny O'Connell. Tires and fuel. They needed the fuel to make it to the end, and then a lot of long faces on the part of the 4 team. I've got to believe, guys, they've got tires set behind the wall. I've got to believe they're going to have to do fuel before the end of this thing. And if they do fuel, expect them to take tires too. You said it, Calvin. Olivier Beretta has been out there for quite a while.
He really has. There's an hour and 15 minutes to go in this event. 20 minutes here, so he's got about 55 minutes on those tires, and that's pretty lengthy load.
This could be bad news for Gavin, because he really, as Biela came screaming up the inside, Gavin had almost come to a stop as Biela came through, and this may be the shot for Abson. Here he goes. Saracen swings wide. 3 abreast down the Andretti straightaway, and Saracen just blows by. He's clear now into the brakes. He had enough of a margin that the Corvette brakes and handling not able to counter that, and we have a new leader in Saracen. Boy, I tell you what, that is some straight line grunt.
It really is, and he just has a lot more race car right now. He has straightaway speed, he has handling as well. Those fresher tires are giving him the edge.
Look after your tires until the end, Steph. Look after your tires.
The Aston Martin team saying, look after the tires, Stefan. Now you're in front, just pace it. Don't abuse the tires. Remember, if you get a caution or something, the Corvette could be in a position to come back. But right now, unless something goes wrong with the Aston Martin, I think they're going to claim victory here today.
Yeah, it seems to be their day at this stage. Gavin just trying to stay close at this stage, but it's a tough one. We have now exactly 20 minutes remaining here at the Grand Prix of Mosport. We are back at the Grand Prix of Mosport, the 8th round of the American Le Mans Series for 2006. The Audi with the yellow roll hoops. Your leader, Alan McNish, continues out front. You know, we've had some great Cub reporters over the course of the season, but we decided this time to ask somebody who's pretty familiar with American Le Mans Series and speed viewers.
Hi, I'm Johnny O'Connell, driver of the number 3 CompuWare Corvette racing car. And this weekend, Speed has me as a Cub reporter, which is garbage. I ain't no Cub reporter. I've been working for Speed for 10 years. They call me Cub reporter. Anyway, we're going to go around and see if any of these drivers have any hidden talents they want to share with us. So why don't you guys come along? Of course, everybody in sports car take 2. Of course, everybody in sports car racing recognizes James Weaver. And James, we're going around the paddock like you once did before, and we're asking the question. And the first question is are there any hidden talents that you possess that you'd like to share with all the fans at Speed?
Well, you know, modesty obviously prevents me from going into any great depth, and the facts prevent even that level of investigation, sadly.
You know, he's keeping it secret, but, you know, I know from just, you know, years and years of racing with James that he is a fashion genius, and I'm betting if we looked at his socks right now, he'd have something creative, okay? So, again, no wonder it's a hidden talent. All right, of course, we're speaking with Liz Halliday here. What's up with you guys waving? Are you waving or are you flipping this off? I mean, every time you guys go by, I see a hand come out.
Well, actually, I've just got a real thing for Corvette and guys that drive them, so, you know, I can't resist.
It's a curse. It's a curse, America. Lucas, we're going around and we're asking drivers if they have any hidden talent, something that you're really good at that people might not know about, you know, whether like you're an opera singer or something like that. And we're just wondering, you know, do you have any hidden talents?
Actually, I'm a good cook. I'm really good cooking, especially fish meals and stuff like that. So I think that's a hidden talent.
That is a very good hidden talent. That's, you know, that's a surprise. You know, James Weaver, he wears pink socks. So what did we learn today? Well, we learned that James Weaver's into hot pink. Lucas Luhr knows how to cook. Liz Halliday is really into us Corvette drivers. So basically, we have no hidden talents. So anyway, I'm Johnny O'Connell for Speed TV.
Thanks, Johnny. Good in-depth investigative reporting in the paddock here at the American Le Mans Series. And, boy, I'll tell you what, we have something that is developing here. This doesn't help it. But Guy Smith, 3 laps ago, was 20 seconds behind McNish. Last time by, 16 seconds. He is closing in, and we've heard some radio traffic that McNish is saying that he's struggling.
He's struggling possibly with tires. We're going to check into that, but he may be searching for grip a little bit. Remember, he didn't take tires on that second stint, so he's going to attempt to go about an hour and 30 or so on this one set of Michelin tires, which is really putting a heavy load on that and really testing Alan's skill in managing the tires. You've got to really not overdrive the car. Remember, you need something for the last 5 minutes. That's when the race is won.
Now, the last lap, McNish turned a lap 0.2 of a second faster, but Smith got hung up behind a GT2 car, and that makes a huge difference, obviously, in lap times. A clear track right now. Guy Smith is the fastest guy by far.
Greg, I checked in with Brad Kettler from Audi Sport North America team champion. He said the problem right now is just pickup. When Alan goes offline to get past some of these cars in some of the slower classes, it's a lot of that rubber pickup, and it just takes several laps, as cool as it is right now, to get that pickup off the tires and get the car back to where it should be. Now, is that really the case? Or are the tires going away? We'll have to wait and find out.
Well, the pickup problem is something that the R10 seems to have struggled with a little bit since it came over here this year. We saw it several rounds, really. Even after a green flag was thrown after a caution, the driver's still weaving around trying to get the tires clean, and that's a big issue. But the champion guys have a little bit of a trick up their sleeve. The pickup happens as the tire will run over and pick up the rubber also, but then also underneath, almost like what we call the wheel arch, the body work, that rubber collector will drop down the run over and pick it up again. So they're putting like a cooking oil spray, believe it or not, on the inner fenders so that the rubber doesn't stick as easily, and certainly stop and seeing some of those big snowballs of rubber that we see on occasion flick out from underneath the wheel arch.
There is McNish, and he now has turned a pretty good lap, a 1:08.6. So there is a response. Not much time left, and it's heating up. Don't go anywhere. We are back at the Grand Prix of Mosport. Alan McNish comes out of turn 10 onto the front straight. But while we were in break, just to let you know, Guy Smith just turned what I think is a new fastest lap of the race, a 1:07.4. McNish, a 1:09.9. The margin has shrunk to 11.5 seconds. And this last lap, he took another chunk out. It's down to 10 seconds. So Guy Smith is absolutely flogging that car, going after what could be a huge win and the 4th straight class win for Dyson here, if they somehow manage to get it.
He can, but this traffic is not helping. We've got exactly 10 minutes left in this run. That's about 8 or 9 laps. And at the pace that Guy's been running in clear traffic, that would be enough to get on the tail of McNish, but passing him is going to be a different matter.
And of course, right now, with Weaver and Leitzinger sitting in 3rd, if Guy can get around McNish, that keeps the life of the championship alive for Weaver and Leitzinger. So that's fairly huge in terms of helping the team for the championship at this stage. And take a look at this, the battle for the lead. Look how it has changed up. 6 seconds gone in the course of 4 laps.
Huge margin of traffic to eat that away. 2 or 3 seconds a lap, very easy. Look at this. Guy Smith has nowhere to go. He has to be careful. He doesn't want to throw this away. He's got a great run going here. Runner-up and a podium finish is nothing to be sneezed at, but he knows he has a very strong race car. I think that's why we saw him frustrated earlier with traffic by shaking his fist there. He knows that he has the pace to win this one. He doesn't have the track position right now.
Now, keep in mind, even with all that traffic, he only lost a half second to McNish. So it's interesting. Of course, the question is McNish got anything in reserve? Is he, easing off just a little bit? And the other question is, we look at McNish coming through Moss, is right now, McNish leads, Weaver's 3rd. If that's how it finishes, McNish and Capello clinch the championship. Does Smith at some point let James through to keep them alive? He thinks he can't get McNish.
It's a possibility. I'm sure the Dyson team are aware of all of the points calculations, but right now with 2 rounds to go, that's a very tall order. I mean, this would really just give them a small possibility of getting back on track and winning the championship. I think right now they'll probably just let things go as they are. Guy Smith and this guy's about trucks. Tremendous run there today. 16 car was quick as well. They had a little wobble in the pit lane, and that cost them dearly in terms of being able to run to the finish and go for the win.
All right, as Guy Smith continues to mount the charge, we're going to take a quick break, and we will come back to the checkered flag. McNish leads overall, but there is some heat. Welcome back to the 8th round of the American Le Mans Series, the Grand Prix of Mosport, as we are closing in on 5 minutes remaining. McNish continues to lead, and we want to show you what we think the candidate for the shell move of the race is. And this one happened in the pits, and it was actually just down to some bad luck.
It was. You see the mechanic put the wheel nut on. He hits it with the gun. There's already a wheel nut stuck in there. This cost the 16 car valuable seconds. They were definitely a fast car here today. Butch Leipzig put together a tremendous drive, but this bobble in the pit lane cost them a lot of track position. Right now they run third.
And it was it. They were, if they would have got out in second, the championship in terms of points, they would still have a shot. But if it finishes like this, it will be a clinch for McNish and Capello. So that was a huge moment. And as that car comes down the front straight, the driver behind the wheel, Alan McNish, giving it his all. And tell you what, Dindo Capello did as well, Brian.
Dindo Capello watched McNish flash by the front straightaway, checks the timing and scoring streak. 5 wins this couple has had on the season. Dindo, but with all the race wins you've had, you've won Le Mans, you've won Sebring, you've not won American Le Mans Series Championship. You guys win today. James Weaver finishes where he does. You win, you take the championship. But Alan seems to be struggling right now a little bit. The Guy Smith closing in. Is it tired?
Fortunately, at the moment it's only 5 minutes to go. Our gap is still around 10 seconds, which is, I would say, not very safe, but quite safe. If he would finish like this, would be perfect for us, but we have to see what the Dyson team will do before then.
To take this championship, along with all the other accolades that you have in your career, to take this championship, what would it mean?
Yeah, for me, it would be very, very important to win this championship, even though I think in 2000, when they won all the races with Alan, we both get champion, but you know the old rules was a little bit strange, and in 2002 I lost the championship winning more race than Tom. Then you know, just because in one race we didn't score point in Sears Point when we split, and I think probably I deserve this championship sooner or later.
He says, hey guys, I've won enough races. I deserve a championship this time around. Good luck, buddy.
Well, of course, the old rules he alluded to was the qualifying driver would get extra points for pole, and that's what separated him at that stage. Twice runner-up, and boy, this would mean a ton. And speaking of runner-up, Guy Smith just turned a 108.2, the margin down to under 8 seconds, but also
3 minutes to go. 3 minutes.
Not enough.
That's a tall order at this stage of the game, but Dindo Capello is absolutely right. He does deserve a championship. In his heart, he believes he's won 2 already. Just the quirkiness of the rules have stopped him from actually getting the crown at the season finale in the banquet. But right now, Guy Smith can now see Alan McNish, and that really gives a driver a lot more drive. He's going to get his head down. He's not going to give up until he sees that checkered flag today.
Now, when we were talking about the shell move of the race, you also had a thought on one, and it was a strategy.
The strategy called by the number 2 car by pitting Alan McNish as soon as he got in the fuel window and not taking tires. That was really the key. They really played it safe in terms of a yellow flag not hurting their ability to win today. And this champion team now running the North American Audi factory effort has really come a long way over the years. Brad Kettler just runs a tremendous operation there now, and Dave Mirage just gives the boys everything they need, and they've learned a lot, and they are now the best in the business.
The margin under 6 seconds. The last time by, Smith a 108.3, McNish a 110.3. 2 seconds gone in that lap itself. And boy, it's going to be interesting to see. But as you said, even if he catches them, passing them,
Alan won't want it to get too close, though, because if he gets a sniff on him, and then there's traffic, then Alan's going to have to make a move. He's going to have to take a chance. He'd like that gap not to get under about 3 or 4 seconds as we now come down to about a minute and a half to go. I don't think he's going to see the white flag this lap. I think he's going to be one more run to the start-finish line.
As we're watching this compelling chase for the overall,
yes, he does.
Lead, white flag. White flag is out. Just want to remind you in the P2 category.
Last time lap, Alan, last lap.
Duma up by 50 seconds plus over Bernard. In GT1, Sarazan
plus
up by
5.0.
A few seconds now with some breathing room over the number 4 Corvette, and Johnny Mollum in the 62 Ferrari leads the team car in GT2.
That was a big break there for Alan McNish. If he had been about 5 seconds earlier crossing the start-finish line, he would not have seen the white flag. They try and determine by the race pace what lap times they're doing when they're going to throw that white flag, and he was about 5 seconds underneath the lap, so that's why they threw the white flag on that lap. But Guy Smith is just going to keep pushing. Right now, no traffic in front of Alan McNish. He's looking good.
You can see Smith just throwing that car around into Moss. It was all corrections as he is giving it everything he has to try. But Alan McNish into turn 8 at the end of the Andretti straightaway. 2 corners to go for McNish and Capello, and a clinch in the championship if it finishes as it is. McNish onto the front straight, comes to the wall, and the guy who's going to love this the most is Dindo. He gets his championship, assuming that Smith comes through. He did. In the final margin, though, 2.7 seconds. Smith was flying, but look at Dindo.
He is a happy boy. He finally gets it. Remember, he doesn't need to trip over. He's got to finish those last 2 races along with Alan McNish, so he needs to still get the job done all the way to Laguna Seca.
Here's your leader in GT2, and Johnny Mollum off to a rough start in that car early in the week in testing, but he and Ortelli bring it home. Different colored body panels. They went through a lot of car to get the win, but they got the win, and that's key. Over the team car, brought home by Maurizio Mediani. A nice job for that driver new to this program. Here comes the number 7, Romain Duma, and picks up the win.
Flag, checkered flag. Good job, guys.
That will boost...
that put Lucas Luhr on a tie with Sasha Masson in the P2 points, and here come the Aston Martins.
Sarazan, the 009, is the class leader. Gavin, 42 seconds back. So this one, another great day for the Aston Martin program as they swing onto the front straight. And Stefan Sarazan.
Yeah, mate. Good drive. Excellent.
And there you have it. The 4 classes are all complete. When we come back, we'll visit with our winners. Speed's coverage of the American Le Mans Series is brought to you by Shell, made to move, and by Michelin, a better way forward. Back at Mosport, Victory Circle is starting to unfold, and it was just an amazing race, particularly the charge at the end. Here you go in P1, and it turns out overall, Capello McNish get the win. Let's go down to Brian.
Alan McNish, Dindo Capello, the 6th win of the season. It brings you and Dindo the Drivers' Championship. Alan, it's your 2nd, the 1st for Dindo. Which one is more important, the one for you or delivering one for your friend?
To be honest, we delivered it together in 2000 and we delivered it together this year. That's the one thing about Dindo and I, we work really well as a team and we support each other. But to be honest, today the whole team did a really good job. Champion, Audi and Dindo was superb at the start.
Congratulations, guys.
Let's take a look at the points with that 6-class win and the clinch. They did what they needed to do. There's that 49 points. So even if Leitzinger and Weaver tie it with 6 wins, that's the tiebreaker. Game over. In P2, here are the results, and it was all Porsche. Andrew?
I'm a Romain you won P2, but you didn't really mix it with the Audis today.
Yeah, it was difficult. I have to say, I was thinking that it was possible to be more close, but Saudi were really quick, also the Dyson, and really now we are really focused in our championships, the LMP2. So it was difficult to take a risk. Just the target was to win the class 1-2, to try to catch again a little bit those LMP2 car.
Thanks very much.
Thank you for everybody.
Let's take a look at the points in the class right now. And as you can see, those 2 drivers, Luhr and Maassen, tied. Field and Halliday 5 back, and Duma and Bernard, of course, playing supporting roles at this stage a bit further back. In GT2 results, it was a great one for the Ferraris. getting their 3rd win of the season for Ferrari, and they are standing by with Brian Till.
Johnny Mollum shows up, guest driver, and guess what? You take the victory. How sweet is it?
Fantastic. I mean, I didn't really do anything at all. I have to say that Stefan Ortelli drove a perfect first stint, kept out of trouble, kept the 2 cars in front within sight. We got lucky, I think, with the Flying Lizard, had a puncture or something, but I got past Rocky in the 23 car. Then they told me I was leading by 40 seconds from our sister car, and at that point, I think my grandmother could have driven that car home. It was kind of frustrating with the panels. I think Milner was driving. I was a lot quicker, and it was every time I even had a look, he just chopped me, and I just got so frustrated. I just wanted to hit him, but I backed off and just cruised around behind him. But it was great. I'm so pleased with the Risi team and Remo Ferri and everyone. They really deserve it. Fantastic result.
Congratulations on the victory. Ferraris are strong, guys.
Oh, aren't they? And here you go in the points. Now, Johannes van Overbeek finished 3rd. Bergmeister finished in 6th, and there's that swing from 9 to 16 points. So that's a tough break for York, and a good opportunity for Van Overbeek to move things along a little bit. And he certainly has worked hard for that. In GT1, it was Aston Martin Vet, and it was sort of a seesaw race for a while, but that 009 really was able to just open things up and drive away in the late going with a very solid run by Sarrazin. So a good run for Lamy and Sarrazin, getting the win for Aston Martin. Boy, look at the crowd gathered down. The photographer is down in Victory Circle at this stage, waiting the arrival of the Aston Martin drivers who missed Victory Circle. They were so excited about it. So we'll take a look at the points first. And you can see Gavin and Beretta up front, 18 back, the teammate, and Enga joining that 3-way tie. Let's get down to Andrew.
Well, what a fantastic drive, and congratulating Pedro Lamy here. Look at the, if you can get your crash helmet off. Oh, you missed the podium.
Yeah, I'm very happy. It's a long time ago we didn't win, and there was a big problem last few races. So I'm just really happy. It's fantastic for the team. Team did a great job, very good job. Car was really fast, so it's a very good day for us.
Congratulations. Back to you in the booth.
Thanks a lot.
All right, Andrew, thanks very much. And Calvin, it turned into a pretty fascinating race. Guy Smith really showing some stuff. That final margin of victory so close. Battles throughout the day.
It was a great race indeed, but the R10 TDI Audi at 1 Sebring, 1 Le Mans, now won the championship. It is unbeaten in P1 this season, Greg.
And the next run is coming up. We've talked about it. The American Le Mans Series next, the Petit Le Mans, 10 hours, 1,000 miles. It's coming up Saturday. There are the air times, 11:30 a.m. it starts. And then we'll be back for the final 7 hours. Going to be fabulous. Coming up next, NASCAR Race Day. So make sure you stay tuned right here to Speed for some more great racing action and information. But this 8th round of the championship in Mosport, and I think maybe the biggest news here was that after Hurricane Ernesto moved in and threatened this to be a wet race on a diabolical track in wet conditions, it stayed dry. It was fascinating, and when it all came good, we have crowned our first of 4 class champions. But the other 3, there's 2 races to go, and it'll go right down to the wire. So stay with us throughout the season. Thanks for joining us from the Petit Le Mans, is where we'll see you next.
Excellent.